On this week's episode, we're definitely taking the cannolis. Now get your tickets because we're getting to the theater. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. We're getting to the theater. I'm Adam.
I'm Erica.
I'm Jeremy.
And you can hear today we are one mic short. Unfortunately, Corey could not make it today. He's up in the mattresses.
Is he swimming with the fishes?
I hope not. He might be, though. He's feeling sick.
Oh.
It's really a bummer, too, because this was his episode. He picked it. And he might be pulling a prank on us since he's not here.
Yeah.
Made us sit through this movie.
A 3-hour film, and he's not even here to talk about it.
That sucks.
We're Getting to the Theater. We're a podcast where we sit down and talk about movies that at least one of us had never seen before. And for this episode, it was Corey's pick. He had never seen The Godfather. I think I'm actually the only one here who has seen it before.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Yep, never seen it before.
All right, it's a good movie. It's 3 hours, 1972, directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
Good movie? Is that what we want to say?
Yes, I'm saying it's a good movie. I enjoy this film.
You are that demographic.
Okay. This movie is about a family in New York City, the Coppolas. Not the Coppolas.
The Corleones.
The Corleone family. It follows Don Vito as he operates in New York with his 3 sons.
Would you say it follows Vito? Because I feel like Michael's really the main guy. Like, I feel like Vito is the supporting actor to Michael's story.
Well, in the credits, I believe Marlon Brando, who plays Vito, is first billed.
Well, because it's Marlon Brando. Because, like, isn't in Batman and Robin, Arnold Schwarzenegger is top billed?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't think so.
Oh.
I don't know.
Like, because I know he's really high billed despite the fact he's only in, like, a couple scenes.
I don't know. Maybe it's because he's the main villain.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I feel like the father and the 2 sons are kind of share the spotlight as far as main characters are concerned. They do kind of pass it off to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I maybe it's like the family lead is the main character.
The name, the Corleones.
Yeah.
I know they're credited in the end credits in order of appearance, or at least they are. I'm sorry. On IMDb, they're credited in order of appearance.
Well, that's how IMDb does it always.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah,
Because it kind of starts with Don Vito running everything, then once he goes down and passes the torch, it more or less follows Sonny.
Mm-hmm.
And then once Sonny goes out, it goes to him. It goes to Michael, and it kind of follows him. So I feel like the main character is whoever's the head of the family at the time. So they kind of share that spotlight.
That makes sense.
that's a good way
Even
to
though
look at
it does like alternate following, what each of them is doing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of how the plot is driven by whoever's like leading at the time.
It also is just it fits the narrative well because it follows Don Vito. Vito gets shot, then it goes to Sonny, and when Sonny is eventually killed,
R.I.P.
When Sonny's eventually killed, it goes back to Don Vito for a little bit. And then after Michael comes back to America, it's focused solely on Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Vito and his moving eyebrows.
You got to leave this man's eyebrows alone.
When he was talking about how they murdered his boy, his eyebrows were like moving independent of each other. I was like, what is happening?
Oh my gosh. So this movie opens on a wedding. Beautiful wedding. Tons of guests. But in the back room of this wedding, there's a little meeting going on. And we meet the Undertaker, who has the opening line of the film, "I believe in America." And he goes into this amazing monologue. It's one unbroken shot of him talking about how he came to this country for opportunity. His daughter was attacked by some scumbags and they disfigured her face. and this man's asking Don Vito to kill these men. And the whole time, it's just this pull-out shot, and it slowly backs up, and we slowly get a glimpse of Vito sitting in the darkness. And Vito tells this man, well, why didn't you come to me first? You come here asking for favors. You don't even call me Godfather.
Does he want to be addressed as Godfather?
Yeah. He's the Godfather. He takes care of everybody.
Oh, like the God. Oh, okay. I got you.
Surely you realize that.
No.
Before. Oh, okay.
No, I thought it was just, like a title that's bestowed upon, every mob person. They are the Godfather.
No, everyone in the mob, the leader of the mob is the Don, which he is also the Don.
Yeah, but I thought it was like the Don, a.k.a. the Godfather.
No, I think in this film, it's more the fact that Vito takes care of everyone.
Okay. The more you know.
So, Vito tells him, "Look, I'm not going to kill these men, but we're going to make sure that they get a message."
Is he going to make them an offer that they can't refuse?
No. He's definitely not going to do that. That would be showing them any kind of kindness. He's just going to make sure that they remember what they did, which we don't see any of that retribution. He tells his consigliere and his adopted son, Tom Hagen.
Tommy.
He's like, hey, get Clemenza's men to handle this. And this is a great. I think the opening at the wedding is maybe 30 or 40 minutes, and we meet every character in the movie. Mm-hmm. We meet Tom here. We meet Don Vito. We meet Vito's wife. Not as much as everyone else. Carmilla.
Or is it Carmela? Because there's an E.
It might be Carmela. Yeah.
I honestly don't remember.
She was sweet. She's barely in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's barely in it.
I think she was like a real life Italian singer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
She's lucky she wasn't in the movie because most people kind of had a bad time.
That's true.
We are introduced to, it is the wedding of Don Vito's only daughter, Connie.
And I think she's the youngest child too.
Yes, Connie is also the youngest child. So there's 4 siblings. There's Connie. Well, in order, they go Sonny, Fredo, Michael, and Connie. So it's Connie's wedding. She's getting married to Kahlo.
Piece of shit.
Kahlo's not great. But we, as the viewer, don't see that yet. Vito's handling business. There's some FBI agents roll up and they start looking at everyone's license plates, all the guests. They're writing them down. Sonny goes out there. And Sonny's known for having a hot temper. Mm-hmm. Sonny does this great thing where he grabs one of the FBI photographers, throws him against the car, and breaks his camera, which is apparently improvised. And then he throws some money down and like, go replace your camera. We also meet Peter Clemenza in this scene. He's one of the capos for Don Vito. We meet
Luca Brasi, my baby.
Luca Brasi's there. He's a enforcer who is a real life mob enforcer. Lenny Montana. Lenny Montana plays Luca Brasi. There is Fredo. We don't really see a lot of Fredo at the wedding.
He's drunk.
He is. I think when he comes over to talk to Michael later, he's drunk and he meets Kay.
Yeah.
They are at some point going to take a family photo, and Don Vito says, "Wait, where's Michael?" Well, we're not doing a photo without Michael.
Let's circle back real fast because the man, when we meet him, he's like, "You come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding," and he's complaining about how he's spending all this time taking these meetings on the day of his daughter's wedding, and yet he still took the meetings.
A Sicilian cannot deny the request of someone on the day of his daughter's wedding.
Why?
I do not know, but that's why he's doing this, and that's why the people are coming to him on this day.
Somebody definitely said that. Like one or two people.
Yeah, they say it. They say it once or twice.
Yeah. Like I'm about to go ask this dude a request.
He cannot deny a request on the day of his daughter's wedding.
That's weird.
I don't know who set that precedent, but
that's just what they do.
That's crazy. And then also, let's talk about that cat that he's petting the entire time.
When he's talking to the Undertaker?
Yes.
Yeah.
They put that cat there to, soften him up. And I'm not going to lie. I fell for it. I was like, this man's a good man. Look at him. That cat's loving it.
He just playing with this little kitten on his lap.
Yeah.
And apparently it was a stray cat they found on set.
Oh.
That Coppola was just, Coppola wanted to give it to Marlon Brando's character to make him seem softer. Mm-hmm. And it worked. It worked.
It worked for me. I was like, yep.
It was just some random cat. I just felt bad for his black suit.
Oh.
Having 2 cats in this house, everything I have is covered in fur.
Oh, God.
Jeremy has a long-haired cat at his house, too. Yep. So, but he has a meeting with a baker. Mm-hmm. And the baker is asking for a favor of not having one of his employees deported because he wants the guy Enzo to marry his daughter. Don Vito says, all right, I'll take care of that. He has a meeting with...
I know, like, my favorite meeting of his is when Luca, because it cuts to Luca sitting outside of the Don's door, like, practicing his little lines. He's like, I congratulations on your marriage, your daughter's marriage, and I hope for the first boy or the first child is a male.
No, he says, I hope that first child is a masculine child.
Yeah. And I was like, aw. And then he goes in and he gives it the speech and then he flubs it. And I'm like, that's precious, man.
Well, it's because the man wasn't an actual actor. He was actually practicing his real lines because he was sent there as an enforcer to watch the production of the film.
And they were like, yeah, let's put him in.
Yeah, they were like, we'll make him a character. And they turned him into Don Vito's personal hitman.
The sweetest man.
Oh, my gosh.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And so him sitting there flubbing his lines was him actually trying to remember his lines. But he's very, I love his respect to Don. He goes, I'm going to leave you now, as I know you are busy. Mm-hmm. But even Vito says, Luca, my most trusted friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. And even Brando himself, they aged him up so much in this movie. He was only in his late 40s.
Yeah, I think he was like 47 when he filmed this.
Yeah, they put a ton of prosthetics on his face, and he had that little mouthpiece that pushed his jaw out. So in my mind, that's how I always pictured him. I always pictured him as an old man, even though he wasn't an old man.
That mouth thing bothered Etta so much. It's like she asked like a handful of times, why is he holding his mouth like that? And I was just like, I don't know.
He had a little mouthpiece in it, and then he also stuffed his cheeks with cotton balls.
That explains the mumbling, because he was a mumbler this whole film.
I was just like, maybe that's how he has to hold his mouth in order to get whatever voice he's going for, because sometimes you have to do that when you're trying to do like a certain
Brando also
voice.
Being the method actor he did not memorize a single line for this film. There's shots you can find online of they had his cue cards hidden on set so you couldn't see him, and so his first take would be the take they used for the movie for a lot of them. There's a really good shot of a scene later in the movie where Robert Duvall, who plays Tom Hagen, he has 3 cue cards taped to his chest that run down his stomach and his front legs, and they're Marlon Brando's lines. Because Brando refused to memorize any lines.
Why?
That's how he preferred to act. Okay. And apparently he was a pain in the ass to work with.
Yeah, it sounds like it, if you're not memorizing your lines.
He did the same thing on Superman a couple years later. And he got into it with the studio, and I think that's part of the reason why he doesn't even have a cameo in part 2.
Oh.
Yeah. Brando's just in this first one.
I can't blame him.
I'm trying to remember who else who visits him for a meeting. It's the Undertaker, the Baker. Luca, I think, is the last one.
Is it his grandkids? Because there's some kids that run in there.
They run through the room when he's talking to Luca.
Okay.
And Tom is like trying to
herd
them out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Johnny Fontaine comes to visit him, his godson.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny shows up to the wedding. Everyone's like, ooh, a celebrity. He sings a little bit for Connie. When he goes back to talk to Don Vito, he's talking about, I want to be in this movie, but this producer won't give me the job, and blah, 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 blah. It's like a war movie. The character's practically me. I wouldn't have to actually act. He's basically asking Don Vito to get him the part in the film, and Vito's like, what's the matter with you? Why are you crying?
Yeah, why was he crying? He was just like in tears on the desk, and I'm like, what you crying for? It's just a movie role.
He needed that role to revitalize his career, he was saying.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because otherwise he felt like, he was on the downtrend. Mm-hmm. It was only downhill from there. He's like, I need this movie role to revitalize my career. It's probably going to be like a platform.
Okay.
I love when Vito slaps him. Mm-hmm. He just slaps him across the face. And that was improvised. That wasn't in the script.
Wow.
So you can kind of see the actor who plays Johnny he kind of like has a little grin on his face, and it cuts to Tom Hagen over in the corner. He's laughing because no one knew Brando was going to do that. And he tells him, he goes, don't worry about it. We're going to handle it. And he has that line about, you spend time with your family? Yeah, I see my family. He goes, good. A man who doesn't spend time with his family isn't a man at all. Don Vito loves his family. That's his biggest weakness, is the love he has for his family.
I would say that was also Michael's downfall in this movie, the love he has for his family.
Because it kind of is what drags him into this life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because Michael is the oddball out of the group. He is not part of this life. He is just a normal, I wouldn't say civilian. He's also a veteran, and he's a war hero. He joined the Marines during World War II when America got involved. He's just not a criminal. It's not in him. He's not a mobster.
Not a criminal at all.
No, he doesn't want that life. And he tells Kay at the wedding when we finally meet them, they sit down, and she's looking at Luca, and she goes, well, who's that man over there talking to himself? Oh, that's Luca Brasi. I don't remember exactly how he describes him, but it's basically that's one of my dad's enforcers.
I think that's how we get introduced to Johnny, too. He's telling the story of Johnny through the story of Luca.
Mm-hmm. Johnny was in some contract, and this is what Michael tells Kay, that Johnny wanted out of the contract, and they refused. So Don Vito and Luca went into the band leader's office, and they offered him like $10,000 to get Johnny out.
Mm-hmm.
And about an hour later, they came out, and they paid $1,000, and they had the contract signed. And she goes, well, how'd they do that? Michael tells her, my father made him an offer he could not refuse. And Kay's sitting there in silence for a second. Michael's like kind of burying the lead. He's not telling her right away. She goes, well, what was that? He said, well, Luca Brasi put a gun to his head, and my father said either your brain or your signature is going to be on this contract. And he tells her, that's my family, Kate. That's not me. It's very important because at the end of the movie, Michael's worse than his father. But Don Vito says he's not a murderer. Everything they do is business. They see it as basically killing someone is a business expense.
Yeah.
And at the end of the movie, Michael takes that to a whole new level.
He got vengeful, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely got really vengeful.
I think Michael had to become what he became in a different world. Because, like, the time of which Vito was running New York, or running his part of New York, is a different New York than Michael is running. So it's like there's more money moving, there's more different people moving. So it's like a whole different scene. Vito had the luxury to be a little nicer, a little calmer. Not that I've seen part 2. I don't know the story, but yeah.
They were pushing drugs into, because that's what Don Vito was pushing back against.
Yeah.
They were just like, all right, we're about to bring drugs into this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one thing Vito did not want to touch. He had no problem with gambling or booze running, but he did not want to touch drugs.
Mm-hmm.
He said because some of his political contacts would look down on that, and then he might lose their favor.
Mm.
I think the last thing we see with him taking meetings is Tom tells him that he has a meeting set up with Sollozzo. Wants to have a meeting with him, and he tells him, well, we'll get back to him in a week. And he says, can I go enjoy my daughter's wedding now? And
the wedding he was trying to enjoy.
The wedding he was trying to enjoy. Goes out, dances with Connie. They have a nice little thing. They get the family photo with everyone involved. And before they take the photo, Michael very quickly he makes sure to grab Kay and have her in the photo.
Which I think it's I don't know if this is me reading too much in the scene, but I feel like that's also a bit of a metaphor for what eventually happens. Michael reluctantly joins the photo with them, and then he drags Kate into the family business as well.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, because he very reluctantly gets involved in this mess later on. Yeah.
Oh wait, one thing about that scene: the whole scene was filmed at night.
No, not the whole thing. Just the scenes with Michael and Kay when they're over at that little table.
Oh, okay.
Those scenes were filmed at night. Mm. They just because of the schedule, they couldn't film during the day, so they had a shit ton of lights put up to make it look like it was daytime.
Yeah, it looked really good.
Nice.
That's when Kay meets
Fredo.
She meets drunk. Fredo. He comes over. He's drunk. He's really happy to see Michael. Mm-hmm. But he also Tom comes over, and Kay's like, "Why is your brother's last name different than yours?" He goes, "Well, Tom's not really my brother, but Sonny found him on the street when
he was like 12 or something.
Yeah, when they were kids, and he brought him into the family, and he's been there ever since. So Tom is Don Vito's adopted son."
But he did very well for being adopted, third highest ranking in the family. So.
And also not Sicilian.
Yeah.
He's German-Irish. So, like, in the real hierarchy of the Italian mob, Tom would never make it that far. And there's a line like that about in Goodfellas.
Never seen it.
The two main characters, or Ray Liotta's character and Robert De Niro's character, have some lines in the movie like, well, we could never actually be made men because we're not full-blown Italian.
Is De Niro Italian?
I think De Niro's, the actor is, yeah.
Okay.
But his character in that movie wasn't. So they were looking for Joe Pesci to be their way in. The wedding ends, or before the wedding ends, Don Vito tells Tom to fly out to Hollywood and go talk to this movie producer. Mm-hmm. Jack Waltz, I think is his name.
That sounds right.
So we see Tom hop on a plane. He flies out to Hollywood. He meets with this guy on the actual Paramount Studios lot. Paramount just said, well, we're not going to build another set. Just come fill on the actual lot we already have. He meets this guy, and he tells him, I'm here on a mutual friend of Johnny Fontaine. He wants him to be in this picture. And the guy immediately is like, never going to happen. It's never going to happen. He said, who's your friend anyway? He goes, well, I don't like to use his name if I don't have to. And it's funny, in the immediate next scene when he's at Waltz's house, he's talking about Don Vito by name.
He didn't want to have to use it.
Right. I don't want to use his name, but later I'm going to start using his name.
He forced his hand.
Mm-hmm. This guy's using Irish, or he's using Italian slurs up and down this entire scene.
Yeah. Like, it's slurs I never heard before. I was like, what?
And then Tom is just like, well, I'm actually Irish German. And then he pulls out some Irish German slurs.
Yep.
He was ready.
Yeah. And then Tom is the always with the upper hand with courteousness here. Tom is always calm, polite. And he goes, I really like your pictures. And he walks away. He goes to the man's house that night for dinner. He's showing him around his estate. He shows him his $600,000 horse he's going to use to stud. He's got police watching the horse. That's how much this man cares about this animal. And they're sitting down having dinner, and Tom is like, look, I know you don't like Johnny, but my only client, Mr. Corleone, would really love for him to be in this picture. And the guy says, I'm not going to put him in the picture. And you know why? Because it would help his career. I know it would help his career, and I'm not going to do that. Because I had some young actress I was training. We sent her to acting school and all this stuff. We spent all this money on her.
He was like, we spent $100,000 on this girl. I was stooping her, and then he ruined her.
Yeah, this guy's just mad because he was fucking her first.
This is basically what he said.
Did you catch that, Jeremy? Did you hear that line?
I remember that part. It cracked me up. I'm like, wow.
He's not mad that he spent all this money and shit training her. He's mad that someone else fucked her.
No, I'm mad because somebody else put their hands on this actress that I wanted.
That I put all my money on. And he has that great... The way he delivers this line, he goes, it'll make a man like me look ridiculous. And a man in my position can't be made to look ridiculous. I love the way he says it. It's great.
Because it looks ridiculous as he's saying it.
He does. He looks like he's about to have a fucking heart attack.
Yes.
Oh, he was. He was mad about that actress.
Uh-huh. Tom is like, look, Mr. Corleone doesn't ask twice. Ask for favors twice. And the guy tells him, no, basically go fuck yourself. And Tom's like, well, thank you for this lovely evening. Mr. Corleone likes to hear bad news in person. Mm-hmm. And he gets up on a plane and he flies out of there. And it cuts to the next morning at the producer's house, and he's in bed. And the whole time we were watching this scene, I was watching Erica. I was waiting for her reaction. And he's laying in bed. He's got these big golden-looking silk sheets. Looks real comfortable. Mm-hmm. And he starts to move and jostle awake, and you can start seeing little bits of blood.
And I thought he murdered somebody. I was like, he murdered somebody in his sleep.
Or they killed someone, put the body in the bed.
I thought they framed him.
Yeah. So what happens is so fucked up. So he pulls his hand out. His hand is caked in blood. He pulls the blankets down. His whole body is covered in blood. He whips these blankets back, and there is the severed head of his $600,000 horse. And this man's just screaming. What I read online was those screams were real because when they were rehearsing this scene, they used a prop head. That was a real horse's head in that shot.
Oh, my God.
They got it from a dog food plant, apparently. So the horse was killed as humanely as a horse can be killed in the 70s. They didn't kill the horse for the shot.
I was worried at first, but I was like, oh my God, they killed that actual horse.
No. But that was a real head in that bed. Which is so fucked up. And they didn't tell the guy, so he was freaking out.
Yeah, that's visceral.
Yeah, they pranked him hard.
What was like wow though is like he had to be like a hell of a hard sleeper to be that coated in blood and have a horse under the blanket in your bed. I was like, you're either on like a coke sleep or something. Like,
well, what was the big drug in the 40s? I'm sure he was on it. He worked in Hollywood.
Opium, cocaine.
He was on something.
Had to be
more than booze.
Some kind of opioids, probably.
Mm-hmm. Some good stuff. He didn't feel a horse's severed head be put in his bed.
Yeah. I mean, he is an older guy too, and he'll tell him what meds he was on. He could have been drinking, just mixing them.
Oh, he was having himself a good time. He's like, oh man, I told that Italian German to fuck off. I'm gonna go have a good night's sleep. Mm-hmm. And as he's screaming, it fades out, and we see Don Vito just sitting in a chair, relaxing. He doesn't have a tie on. He doesn't have a real suit on. He is just relaxed. Tom is back. He goes, Tom, you okay? You need some sleep? He goes, no, I slept on the plane. Because this all happens over like 2 days. The wedding happens. Tom flies out to Hollywood that night. I think the next day is when he has the meeting with the producer. And then that night he flies back home. Mm. So this is now Tom sitting in the office with Vito and Sonny. Sonny played by James Caan. And this is where Tom is finally telling Don Vito all about the Turk, Sollozzo. Mm-hmm. How he has these poppy fields overseas. He has the police protection to smuggle the drugs in. He also has the protection of the Tattaglia family. They are one of the 5 families in New York. I can only remember 3 of them. There's the Corleones, there's the Barzinis, and there's the Tattaglias. I'll have to look up what the other 2 are when we get there.
Is Sollozzo not... Is he working for a family? Is he not a family?
No, he's just a drug runner, I think.
Oh.
But he has the protection of the Tattaglias.
Oh. Mm-hmm. See, here I was getting the Barzini. Oh, I was getting Barzini and Sollozzo mixed up hard. And then, come to find out, Sollozzo's not even a family. He works for a different family.
He's just a drug runner who, from what I understand, the other families work with him because he makes them money.
Okay.
But
so he works for multiple families.
Yeah, we find out he's working with Barzini and Tattaglia. I don't know about the other 2. We don't really get a lot about the other 2 families. It's mostly just the Tattaglias and Barzinis. Okay. We actually meet 2 Tattaglias. We meet the son, Bruno. I think his name was Bruno. And the father we meet at the sit-down later on. Okay. So he wants to have a meeting with Don Corleone. Tom gives him all the information about him so they know what they're walking into. We meet Sollozzo at Vito's olive oil factory.
Oh, is that where they're meeting?
Mm-hmm. They're meeting in the Don's actual office at his factory.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So everyone in this room, it's Sollozzo. I think we have Vito, Sonny, Fredo, Tom, and then we have Clemenza and Salvatore.
Who's Salvatore?
Sally.
Oh, okay.
Sally? Damn, what the hell is Sal's last name?
I just knew him as, like, Sally, one name. Prince. Zendaya. Madonna.
The actor is Abe Vigoda.
He looks familiar.
He does. Tessio. Tessio is the other one. Those are, Tessio and Clemenza are the Don's, like, highest ranking guys below Sonny and Tom. They have their own little crews that they run. Paulie is one of those. Paulie we met at the wedding.
The one who was eyeing the money.
Yeah, when they were getting the bridal purse together. Mm-hmm. He was like, oh, if it was somebody else's wedding. Yeah, Paulie. He's got this big curly, I almost said coif, but that's not right. He's got this big curly hairdo.
He looks like he could be like a member of the Jets in West Side Story.
Mm. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
So they're having this meeting, and Sollozzo is basically saying, look, I'm going to bring in all these drugs, but you have all the connections and everything, so I just need a loan from you of $1 million, and the investment back to you would be $3 to $4 million in the first year, and you get 30% of what we make. And
I get why Vito didn't want to do it. But knowing what's around the corner in the 80s and the 70s in New York City, it was probably smart for Michael to get in that game.
Yeah, but that's 30, 40 years from now. No one can predict that, especially back in the 40s.
Well, you got to start somewhere.
But Don Vito does not like drugs.
Drugs make people do crazy things.
He has no problem with alcohol. He has no problem with gambling, but he does not like drugs. And he asked Sollozzo, he goes, well, why do you come to me with such a generous offer? Why am I so special? And that's when he tells him, you have the contacts, you have all these senators and everything in your pocket. Don Vito gets up from his chair, walks across the room to sit next to Sollozzo. He does this really thing where he's like, oh, there's dust on your chair. Let me just clean off your chair for you. I want you to be comfortable. He gives him a drink. While they're sitting there, Sonny speaks up, and he basically asks, what do we get out of this? And Vito basically tells him, hey, shush. And this is where he tells Sollozzo, you can see I spoil my children, maybe a little bit more than I should. But my offer, my answer is going to be no. That's my final offer. I wish you good luck on your business. It doesn't matter to me how a man makes his money. Just good luck to you. As long as your venture does not interfere with my business, I have no problems with you. But the drug game is something I don't want to be involved in. Sollozzo is kind of like, okay. He gets up, he leaves, and Vito tells Sonny, he's like, get back here. You never share your opinion with anyone outside the family ever again. He's like, what's the matter with you? But Sollozzo in this moment, this is where he's like, I might be able to do business with Sonny. Sonny seems a little bit more down for this idea.
He's like, I got to get rid of the man in front.
There's one guy in the way.
Yep.
And if Sollozzo had just walked away at this moment and been like, all right, Corleone doesn't want my business. I can still do business. I'm just not going to make the money I want to make. His life would have turned out a little bit different in Lou's Diner.
Yeah.
Would have gone a little bit different.
I think everyone's life would have been a little
Would've been
different.
way
had
different.
Sollozzo just walked away.
Yeah, I feel like he eventually would have gotten where he wanted to be. It just would have taken a little bit longer because those drugs were coming.
Yeah.
There was nothing that was going to stop.
Yeah.
Like Erica just said, in the 70s and 80s,
Yeah.
granted, he would have been old, but, he would have built an empire.
Yeah, he would it would have taken him longer, but he would have gotten there.
Yeah.
He would have at least lived to get there if he would have just walked away. Because just think about everybody else who was willing to do business with him.
Right. You got two other crime families who are more than willing to do business. They just got greedy.
Yeah.
They wanted the big fish.
Mm-hmm. Immediately.
Because Don Vito had the most power.
No, maybe this is also a movie about hubris, of playing your cards right.
Or just, like you just said, playing your cards right, knowing when to walk away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All Sollozzo had to do was walk away, and everything would have turned out so differently in this movie. Is it after this we see they're leaving for the night, and Vito walks out of his office and goes, "Where's Paulie?" And Fredo's sitting there?
Yeah.
Or is there something in between?
There's the murder of Luca, right? We see Luca.
Oh, okay. So, sorry, yeah. After Sollozzo and everyone leaves, Vito tells Tom to, have Sonny come in here, or have Luca come in here. And someone also sent him flowers, big thing of flowers that he tells him just sit outside his office.
Yeah,
I think from someone who couldn't make it to the daughter's wedding.
Oh yeah, it was a couple senators or something where.
Yeah, because even at that moment, we're backtracking a little bit, but even at that moment, Tom's like, well, some senators sent their apologies, they couldn't come, but they sent gifts. So I think this is one of those gifts, a big thing of flowers. And Vito's like, what is this? He sets it aside. Luca comes in. He tells Luca, I want you to go meet with Tattaglia and Sollozzo and make it seem like you're not happy with our family. I want you to get dirt on these people. And Luca the whole time was just like, squinty-eyed, looking, nodding his head.
Looking like the sweetest little man.
This man's a cold-blooded killer.
The sweetest little baby.
Oh my gosh.
If not baby shape.
Why baby?
Why baby?
Oh my gosh. So that when Vito's leaving his office, Fredo's there and he's like, Where's Paulie? He goes, oh, Pop, he's been sick, he called out. I'll go get the car. I don't mind. It's okay, Pop. I got it. Vito's putting his coat on. One of his employees is helping him put his coat on. He goes downstairs. Fredo's sitting there with the car. He goes, oh, hold on. I want to go buy some fruit. He goes, okay, Pop. And Vito's across the street buying this bag of fruit, and we see these feet come running around like an alley or a truck. And Vito kind of looks up because Vito knows what's happening. And then we see these guns drawn. Vito tries to run back to the car, and he gets gunned down in the street. Mm-hmm. When Don Vito gets shot, he's shot in the back. He's shot like 5 times.
Yeah.
Like a full 50 Cent moment.
Yeah. And he's slumped over the car, and Fredo has the biggest fuck up. Fredo gets out of the car, and he fumbles his own gun and drops it. And these guys get away. Mm-hmm. He couldn't even protect his father. And he's sitting there on the curb crying, looking at his dad bleeding out in the street. Go get help. Stop just sitting there watching him bleed. And this is also like one of the first things online like about the oranges. Did you read anything like that?
I didn't.
So apparently there's a rumor online that anytime you see something to do with orange, it means death. So the people who made the movie said that's not the case. They just needed some color in some otherwise drab shots.
Right.
But the color they picked just happened to be orange for a lot of things. So when Vito is shot in the street, he's buying oranges. When Sonny is shot on the causeway later on, spoilers, he drives past an orange juice billboard.
And also when he beats up Carlo's wearing an orange suit.
When Tom is having the meeting with the movie producer, there's a bowl of oranges on the table. At the wedding, Clemenza drinks a thing of wine with oranges in it. Not that Clemenza dies, but he is a killer.
In the meeting
sorry, go ahead.
In the meeting with the heads of the families, there's an orange on the bowls in front of them.
Paulie is the one that hands Clemenza the wine with the oranges in it.
Yeah.
Tessio picks up an orange at the table. Just orange is supposed to represent death as a fan theory. And I mean, it works conveniently, but the makers of the film have said we just wanted some color.
It works too well for it not to have been intentional.
Right.
Like, I feel like they're saying it to be like, oh no, this happened accidentally. But it's too well of a thing to have happened for it not to be intentional.
It works.
You know, like,
I'm for it.
Like, not that this is the same thing, but like when The Undertaker had his undefeated streak at WrestleMania, it went on a little too long for it not. Like, maybe it started out as unintentional, but it definitely ended up intentional in the end.
Maybe they just needed to have more color in their shots.
Instead of red for all the blood.
Oh, the blood.
Some orange.
Yeah.
That blood looked
That's what
so
they
big.
said. They said they were like, we just need some color. So we went with oranges. But it just works out too perfectly with everything that happens and who messes with oranges. Either way, I like it. I like the theory. Mm-hmm. It's something I heard long time ago. Is this where we see Michael and Kay again? We hadn't seen them in a while.
Yeah.
Ever since the wedding photo.
I think they're shopping for Christmas presents or something like that.
They're walking down the street. They're all happy and everything. And Kay suddenly has this horrified look on her face. And Michael says, what's wrong? And she points to the newspaper and it says that Vito has been shot. I think it says he might be dead. Mm-hmm. They reported him dead. He goes to try to call Sonny. Sonny says, we've been trying to find you. Where you been?
Does The Godfather count as a Christmas movie?
No.
I mean, it has the same number of Christmas scenes as the first Harry Potter movie.
Harry Potter is also not a Christmas film.
But they count it as a Christmas movie.
But it's not. They also count It's a Wonderful Life as a Christmas film, but it's not. Just the ending portion of the movie takes place at Christmas. It's not a Christmas movie. It's a movie about a guy whose life sucks.
That is definitely what that is.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael's life also sucks.
From a certain point of view, yeah.
Yeah, he had some high notes.
Just because they're buying Christmas presents in this one moment does not make it a Christmas movie.
But then there's also a Christmas tree in the following scenes for like a good little bit.
Yeah, because this whole section after Vito is shot, it all takes place during winter.
Yeah, I think they were just trying to show, passage of time.
And speaking of passage of time, I did not realize until this time watching it, this movie takes place over the course of 10 years. I did not know that. It does not telegraph that very clearly. There's never a moment where it's like December 1995 or 1945. 1995. They're all dead. They never do that. So at me watching it years ago, I never picked up on that. A lot of time passes in this film. I think at the funeral at the end of the movie when we see Clemenza, his hair's all gray.
Yeah.
When we meet him at the wedding, he's bald, but he's still got color in his hair. It's all brown or black. So So he calls Sonny. It shows Tom buying Christmas presents. He's got a big sled in his hand, like Rosebud.
Yeah.
And Sollozzo approaches him on the street. He goes, "Hey, Tom, good to see you." He goes, "I'm busy. I got to go." Another goon walks up. He goes, "Get in the car." And they just abduct Tom right off the street.
I was really worried that those Christmas presents didn't get where they were supposed to go.
They probably didn't.
Oh.
They probably freaking left those in the restaurant, the abandoned restaurant they were holding Tom in.
Unfortunate.
Sonny's at his house with his wife and kids. Sonny's got like 3 or 4 kids, and another one in the third movie.
Yeah, it's like he has like a bunch of like an ass amount of kids already, and then they take the one illegitimate child and make him the head of the family in the third movie. Spoilers.
All right.
Big spoiler. But Sonny's at his house and he gets a phone call from Sollozzo. You know, "Hey, look, your father's dead. That was business. We have Tom. You know, we'll give you a time and place to pick him up. Don't lose that famous temper of yours." Just being an asshole. Like, "Look, I just shot your father or had your father shot in the street. I'm going to talk some shit to you while I also have your adopted brother held hostage." The fucking balls on this guy.
Yeah, he was asking to get killed.
Everything this guy did.
Yeah.
I mean, they want to say throughout this movie, like, look, it's not personal, it's business. This guy is doing everything in his power to make sure everyone forgets that one rule, and they make it personal.
Mm-hmm.
But they basically tell Tom, they have him in this little abandoned diner that apparently they found while scouting filming locations for the movie. They just found this little abandoned diner to use. And they tell Tom that, look, we want to do business. The old man was standing in the way. You're going to deliver this message to Sonny. We know he wants to. We know he's more willing to do business with us. The old man is dead, so nothing we can do about that now. They go outside to put Tom in a car, and this is where we and everyone else find out that no, Vito is still alive. Mm-hmm. He got shot 5 times, but it didn't kill him.
Which is pretty good for such an old man.
Yeah, he is old.
Yeah.
And in the 40s.
Right?
It was. Oh, we totally missed it, but it was right before all this, where we see Luca getting ready. Mm-hmm. Totally forgot. Luca is showing his apartment. He's putting on his bulletproof vest, and he goes to a
little bar, restaurant, speakeasy kind of thing.
Yeah, he goes to like a little club maybe.
Yeah.
And he walks past this window, and there's some fishes. There's some fish on the glass, and he walks in and he meets with Tattaglia, who's the son of one of the heads.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't realize that was the son.
Mm-hmm. That's Bruno. That's
gotcha.
And
I thought
Sollozzo
he was just a
there.
random bartender.
No,
Nope.
he did look like a bartender though with that outfit on. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, that's Tattaglia. He is one of the 5 families, and the message of Luca being unhappy with the Corleones has already gotten around to them. Sollozzo is there. Like, look, so we heard you're wanting to work for us. Bruno has very few lines, and he's like, yeah.
But he says them well.
Oh my gosh. He's like, yeah, they go to light a cigarette for him, and as they're lighting the cigarette, you can see one of them look past Luca, and he like gives a little like nod, and with Luca's hand on the bar, Sollozzo stabs a knife through it, while Tattaglia holds his other hand, and this guy comes up behind him and freaking garrotes him, and they kill Luca. He's out of the movie. It sucks too because we never got to see this big bad character that they talked about earlier in the film.
Because he was just such a sweet, like through the whole thing.
Cold-blooded killer.
So cute.
Oh my gosh. It's the same woman who looks at lions and says, "I want to pet that."
That lion, it was such, like, it was laying on its back, and it was, like, rubbing its belly, and it was smiling. And I was like, I want to pet that
To
cat.
be fair, there's a lot of people who want to pet lions and tigers,
And
panthers
bears
and stuff like that.
Yeah, but they look like me. They're melanin-free people. So Luca gets killed, I think, right before we see Vito get shot in the street.
Mm-hmm. After that, Michael comes home. Like, he's having dinner with Kay in the hotel.
No, he has dinner with Kate in the hotel right before they go to the Lou's restaurant.
Oh.
Yeah, that's when he tells her to go back home to New Hampshire.
Oh, okay.
So,
because she was like, I'll come home with you.
Something like that. But he wanted her to be gone and out of harm's way.
So he could stoop that child.
Oh my gosh.
We'll get there.
Michael Michael goes to the house. It's full of people. Everyone has guns. They're all over the place. When he gets to the house, is where they're sitting in a room, and Sonny is there with Tom and Clemenza and Tessio. They say that Paulie comes in and says there's some guy with a package at the door.
Is this when he's pretending to be sick?
Yes.
Okay.
Paulie's pretending to be sick. You can see him when Michael walks in. He's got a hanky. He's wiping his nose. Sonny tells Tessio go check see what the package is, and he tells Paulie, he goes, "You feeling okay? You good? You got a little cold there? You could go get something to eat. Get some whiskey. It'll burn that stuff out." And as soon as Paulie walks out of the room, Sonny's like, "I want him fucking dead." He's pretending to be sick. He's the reason my father got shot, because Paulie was supposed to be the driver.
Yeah.
That's why Fredo was there. So Paulie, they have a firm suspicion that Paulie snitched on the Don and said where he would be. So immediately he tells Clemenza, "Hey, take care of this guy." And he specifically tells Clemenza because he's one of Clemenza's men. And it's just real funny, that flip. You go, "Oh, you okay? You go get something to eat."
That was quick.
Fucking kill him. Because they didn't want him to know. Like Henry Hill has a line like that in Goodfellas. There's a point where he gets arrested, and a person comes up to him and puts a gun to his head, and he says, "Don't move," or something. And he goes, immediately he knew he wasn't going to die because it was a cop. Because he knew if it was one of the wise guys, he'd already be dead. They wouldn't say anything. They're not going to give you the chance. So kind of like that. He's like, we don't want Paulie to know that he's done. Tessio comes back in with a package, and they keep trying to. They were talking about how they were trying to find Luca. Like, well, he shacks up with this dame somewhere. Give her a call. And as Michael's picking up the phone, Tessio comes in with this package, and he puts it in front of Sonny, and it's Luca's bulletproof vest, and it's got fish in it. And Sonny's like, "What the hell is this?" And I forget it might be Clemenza's. Like, it's an old Sicilian message. It says Luca Brazzi sleeps with the fishes. And Michael is immediately like, "Well, I don't need to make this phone call." He puts the phone down. Let me save that dime. Mm-hmm. They also mentioned something about maybe we shouldn't talk about this stuff in front of Michael. We don't want to get him too involved in our business. So at this moment, Michael's still very much an outsider, which is kind of why they've left him alone.
Yeah.
Like, even the bad guys, because Michael's not part of that life.
And then it goes to Michael at the hospital, right?
Yeah, I think the next thing is Michael visits his father in the hospital. He walks into the hospital, and it is empty. Which
I found to be weird, because, like, it's the 1940s, yes, but, like, there is no one on staff. Like, where are any of the nurses? Where's the doctor?
I had the exact same thought.
Yeah. No other patients in this hospital?
But yeah, it was a really empty hospital.
Do you guys not remember the line?
I mean, like, I know the cops, like, arrested everybody.
The cops had everyone clear out. Vito was supposed to have police protection watching his room. The police captain, McCluskey, he got everyone out of there because they knew that Sollozzo and whoever Sollozzo was working with, they don't know yet, confirmed yet, are going to come try to finish the job. Now they know he's alive. So McCluskey, being in on it, had everyone leave. There's like cigarettes still burning in ashtrays. I think there's hot cups of coffee. There's the most pathetic, sad-looking sandwich I've ever seen in my life. It's literally white bread with lettuce and cheese.
Wow.
We're still rationing.
It made me sad seeing that little sandwich. I was like, man, they only got one bite out of their lettuce and cheese sandwich, and they had to leave?
Hospital food, man.
Oh, dude. I knew hospital food was bad, but damn, is it that bad for the staff, too?
40s, man. 40s hospital food.
Damn. And they probably got it with a glass of milk. So Michael's wandering around, and he walks into his father's room very slowly. I think because he's kind of scared what he's going to find. And he walks in, and he sees Vito still alive, and then this nurse pops up. And the nurse says, "You're not supposed to be here. They told everyone to leave."
Which is weird. Why is she there?
She's a nurse. Maybe she's just doing her rounds.
She was incredibly expendable.
They're like, you can get risk getting shot.
Look, are there any particular staff members you don't want to leave? He goes, "There's this one nurse on nights.
Carol can get shot. That's cool.
We'll take Carol out." So Michael tells this one nurse, he goes, "Do you know who my father is? Well, there are some very dangerous men coming here to kill him. We need to move him out of this room. Can you disconnect his hoses and everything?" He also calls Sonny in this moment, and he tells him, look, there's no one here at the hospital. And Sonny says something like, all right, well, stay calm. He goes, I am calm. And he hangs the phone up. Not a, hey, send some people up here. I guess it goes without saying.
I think he said he was going to send some people. Sonny.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I missed that.
I think Sonny immediately says, I'm going to send some people.
They wheel Vito out of his room, and they hide him in what looks like a little storage closet at the end of the hallway. Mm-hmm. And if you watch the scene, you can see Brando had his hand too far over the gurney, and he smacks it on the doorframe. And he's supposed to be unconscious, and he whips it back onto the bed. And Michael's hiding in this little room with his father, and the nurse is gone at this point. We don't see her again after they wheel him out. And Michael tells him, I'm here with you, Pop. Vito has a little smile on his face because he's kind of coherent, and he's got a tear running down inside of his face. And then it's really quiet, and we start hearing these footsteps walking through this empty hospital. And we see a man carrying flowers, and he gets near the door where Michael's hiding. And instead of just letting this guy walk by, Michael pops out.
Yeah, he's like, hey, what you doing here?
There are people coming here to kill my dad. Let me hop out and see if you're one of them real quick, and maybe I'll get killed.
Yeah.
Or maybe he was playing on the fact that he's not part of that life, and he knew he would be safe.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Possibly. But it's actually Enzo, the baker.
That's exactly how he says it. It's like, I'm Enzo, the baker.
From the beginning of the movie, the one that the guy asked Don to help not get deported. He was coming to pay his respects. He had a little bouquet of flowers and everything. Good guy.
Really thought there was a gun in those flowers. I was like, oh yeah, no, he's packing.
Yeah.
Before we found out who it was.
Yeah.
I also was just like, why is there only one guy? Why they only send one guy?
Enzo just coming to pay his respects to the man that helped him stay in this country and find his wife. Michael tells him, meet me outside. There are dangerous men coming. Meet me outside in a few minutes. So Michael and Enzo are standing outside, and Michael's like, all right, we got to make you look tough. So let's get rid of these flowers, because if you point the flowers at them, they might fall in love with you. But we want them to be scared of us. So he takes them, he just throws them into the bushes, and he pops up Enzo's collar on his jacket to make it look like they've been standing out in the cold for a while. Mm-hmm. This car rolls by, and there are these...
he's like, put your hand in your pocket.
Yeah, he also tells him to put his hands in his pockets. Yep. And when the car rolls by, you can kind of see in the car, there's 4 guys, and you can clearly see the guys in the back seat have machine guns. Mm-hmm. And they're just standing there staring at Michael and Enzo on the steps, and Michael does this thing where he slowly starts putting his hand inside his jacket to pretend like he has a gun. But it'd be funny if he actually pulled out another bouquet of flowers. So the guys are like, no, we don't want that heat, so they just drive by.
Which was dumb as hell, because it was 2 of them and 4 in the car, and 2 of them have machine guns. It's not like Michael's going to pull out a machine gun out of his butt.
True, but nobody wants to actually get shot.
But there's no one supposed to be there.
Yeah, no one's supposed to be there at all.
They weren't supposed to make a scene. They're supposed to just walk into this hospital and kill this old man.
Yep.
Okay.
So they don't know who's, if there's 2 guys out front, there's no telling who's inside the hospital.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That makes more sense, because I was like, they could have taken them.
Yeah, definitely. But they weren't ready for it.
Gotcha.
This after the guys drive away, though, Enzo is shaking. He's trembling so bad. He's like, I need a cigarette. And he puts a cigarette in his mouth, and he's trying to light this lighter, and he just can't get it. And Michael very calmly grabs the lighter, and he's like, Frick, lights the cigarette, and he looks at it for a second, and he's realizing, my hands aren't shaking at all. I'm a little too comfortable with this. And then the police show up. The police had to have been down around the block, waiting for the call, it's done. Mm-hmm. And they roll up, and Michael's standing there, and the police captain comes up, McCluskey. And, where are the men that are supposed to guard my father? Mm-hmm. He's like, I sent him home. There were too many people in the hospital, or something like that. And Michael says something about how much is the Turk paying you?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And McCluskey tells this guy, hold him, stand him upright, get him good and upright. And the one guy standing there is like, sir, we can't arrest this guy. He's a war hero.
Which, to bring that back up, he's a war hero, and he's very calm during this whole situation where he's pretending to have a gun and things. I was like, is that not because he's a war hero? I mean, it's not just any war he was in. He was in World War II.
I definitely think that's part of it, but in this moment, it's a different kind of fight.
But at the end of the day, you're still killing people.
Yeah, you're
being killed yourself.
Yeah, and
no, I totally agree that definitely his Marine training and his fact he was in World War II, I totally think that's part of it. But I think the fact that he's also getting involved in this life that he wanted nothing to do with, but he's still comfortable with it, I think that's also part of it.
Yeah.
That's how I interpreted it.
Okay.
But it definitely helps that he was a soldier. I forget his medals. He has a Purple Heart.
He has like a bunch of like well-known.
Yeah, and he's got the Silver Cross.
Yeah.
But you don't find that's something that we find out about in part 2.
Like he wasn't just sitting down on the sidelines.
Right. So this one cop's like, "Sir, he's a war hero. We can't. What are we gonna do?" And they get him standing upright, and he makes that comment about how much is the Turk paying him, and McCluskey punches Michael in the face, and Michael is just like out for the rest of this scene. And that's when Tom shows up with all these guys, and he tells me, like, these men are private detectives. They work for Vito Corleone. They are licensed to carry firearms, all this stuff. And at that point, the McCluskey tells them, all right, let Michael go. They can have him. They drive away. And then it goes to the scene of they're back at the house. Michael shows up at the house.
Yeah.
And his face is all puffy and bruised. And we also find out his jaw is wired shut because that old man punched him so hard he broke his jaw.
Mm-hmm.
Really selling that ACAB.
Right? Yeah. Especially this guy.
Oh my God.
I think this is also where we find out that Sonny has had Tattaglia killed. We don't actually see Bruno Tattaglia die, but we find out that Sonny did have him taken out.
Okay.
Oh, that's right, because they brought that up later on that he lost his son.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Tom is telling him, look, you're making this personal. It's business. We can't just be acting on our emotions. And I think a big part of that is in this scene. Like, look, we can't just kill a cop. We don't do that. And Sonny sits down and they're like, we need to wait. We need to be patient. Sorry, Tom says that. Mm-hmm. But Sonny wants to strike now.
And that's probably why they sent in Michael, because they were like, no one's going to suspect Michael. Michael's not part of this.
This is exactly why they send in Michael. Mm-hmm. And it's Michael who comes up with the plan. And in this scene, Michael's sitting in this chair, and Sonny's walking around playing with his cane. And that was Al Pacino's actual cane, because before they filmed this scene, he fell and hurt his leg, and he couldn't stand. That's why this whole scene he's filmed in a chair.
Oh, okay.
The thing is, Michael tells him, we can't wait. And this is where Michael basically puts his own foot in the door to become part of this, or to join this life.
Yep, because they said something about it. Because they laughed at him when he told them the plan.
Yeah, they're like, we can't kill a cop. Michael says, I'll do it. And they're like, look at you, want to join the family business. And they don't think, like Erica said, they would never suspect him because he's not part of that life. He's not. So because he's not, we're not going to really do much. The cop did that because the cop's just a crooked cop. He's not in the business. They never say the word mafia in this movie. It's very important. They never say that. They always refer to it as the business. And Michael basically tells them, look, we'll set up a meeting. They'll pick a place that's open so I feel comfortable and safe. And they also feel safe. We'll find out where that is. Clemenza will have one of his people stash a gun. I'll excuse myself to the bathroom. I'll come out. I'll kill them both. And Sonny has this great thing where he's like, "Ow, come here," and he kind of like fucking with Michael, patting him on the head and shit. Mm-hmm. So this is actually kind of a tense moment. They're sitting around waiting on the call because they don't know where the meet's going to be, and that's very important for them to find out so they can plant that gun.
How do they find out?
Okay, while they're sitting there, they get a phone call. Sonny goes to answer it, and it's one of his informants in the police department.
Gotcha. And
he tells him that this restaurant, Lou's Restaurant, is a place that McCluskey favors or visits quite often. So that's going to be the meet, and immediately they get into action. They figure that they have those old style toilets with the pull chain. They'll hide a gun up behind there for Michael. Mm-hmm. Clemenza has this little scene where he shows Michael what he's supposed to do. He's like, I put this tape on the trigger and the handle so they can't get fingerprints. You're going to shoot them both twice in the head. You're going to put your arm down to your side. They're going to be so scared, they're not going to want to really look at you. But don't run. Just walk out slowly, put your arm down to your side, then just drop the gun. And he tells him, like, Clemenza basically is showing his love for Michael here. Because he tells him, that this is something he'd never would have wanted for him. He thought he'd be a lawyer or something like that, I think he says. Yep. When it actually is time for the meeting, Michael's standing outside of, oh gosh, I forgot the name of it. It had a name that caught my eye when we watched it. But he's standing outside this bar, and
is
a car.
Dempsey's?
I forget. It doesn't matter. But Michael's standing outside in the cold, and this car rolls up. He gets in, and McCluskey and Sollozzo are in the back seat. And McCluskey's just like, sorry I hit you in the mouth. It is what it is. Now you'll get on your knees, turn around so I can pat you down. Make sure he doesn't have a gun on him. And they're driving across one of the bridges. It looks like they're going to New Jersey. Michael asks, "We're going to New Jersey?" He goes, "Maybe." And as soon as they get across the bridge, they whip around and turn back around and head back to the city. And in this moment, again, they're not 100% sure that they got the right restaurant. Mm-hmm. So even as the viewer, you're watching it going, oh shit, they're supposed to be in the Bronx. But then they whip the car back around and be like, all right, well, they're heading back to the city. And they do go to Lou's restaurant. They're sitting there, and Sollozzo tells McCluskey, he's like, I'm going to speak to Michael in Italian now. And the guy doesn't give a fuck. He's just the muscles, by the way. He's literally just supposed to protect Sollozzo. Mm-hmm. He's just getting money out of this. That's it. And there's no subtitles for this. It's just for the characters in the moment. So if you don't speak Italian, you're not going to get it. Mm-hmm. But he's basically saying something about, sorry about your father and all this. I want to do this. I want to end this before too many more people get killed. And Michael's kind of listening, but he's not really focused in on him. And he says, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Is that all right? He gets up. And before he walks away, Sollozzo pats him down one more time. McCluskey's like, I already checked him. He's fine. Michael goes to the bathroom, and he's reaching up behind the toilet looking for this gun, and he can't find it, which is another moment of, oh shit, did they get the gun there in time? And then he pulls it out. He's looking at it. He puts it in his pocket. And before he walks out of the bathroom, he's like wiping his face. He's pushing his hair back. He's really having a moment of, am I really going to murder these two people? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when he walks back out, he sits back down at the table. Sollozzo continues to talk to him about, ending this war, doing business with Sonny. The old man will understand once he's better. And there's this train starts going by, and the sound of the train overtakes the noise of the scene. And Michael finally does it. Michael pulls out this gun, and he shoots Sollozzo in the forehead. Mm-hmm. He shoots, and McCluskey just sits there and watches. And he shoots McCluskey in the throat, and then he shoots McCluskey in the forehead. And then he stands there for a second instead of walking out. And then he grabs his coat, and he's walking out. And as he's leaving, Erica said when we were watching it, I thought he was supposed to drop the gun.
It was like immediately, like he's like, it was enough time between when he shoots them and when he's getting ready to leave where I'm like, isn't he supposed to drop the gun? Because like they made a point to be like, you got to drop the gun and walk out calmly. So like he's walking and he still has the gun in his hand. I'm like, when's he going to drop this gun? And then he just kind of like lets it fall out of his hand.
Yep.
Yeah, instead of doing the thing like Clemenza told him, just let your arm fall to your side and drop it. He kind of raises his arm up to shoulder level and drops it at that high. Mm-hmm. Gets in the car and drives away. And another reason why they didn't want to kill the cop, because it would bring too much heat, and the reason Michael did it was, well, no one will necessarily know it was Michael since he's not part of that life, and Michael can go into hiding. So Michael spends a good portion of this film hiding in Sicily.
Mm-hmm. Which is, it's weird that they're like, no one will know it's Michael. But there's like 15 people still in this restaurant.
But Clemenza told him, no one's going to want to look at you after you shoot that gun. They're don't run, but they aren't going to want to look at you after you fire.
Why is that?
Would you want to look at a guy you just watched shoot two people? No, you want to look away.
Oh, okay.
Duck down. There's even one guy over by the wall in the shot that's got his head down like this. They don't want to look at him.
They probably just know this type of shit happens.
Oh, they're like, oh, this is a thing that happens often.
And because it wasn't one of their guys necessarily who did it, they can play it off with their contacts in the newspapers that, oh, well, this is a drug trafficker got killed with this police captain. So clearly it's a drug thing.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with the five families. It's a drug thing.
Okay. So then it cuts to Michael in Sicily, right?
There's like a full montage of time passing.
Yeah, it has the newspapers flipping by. And we learned that sequence of the newspapers flipping by was edited by George Lucas.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he worked as an editor on this movie.
Was this pre-Star Wars or post-Star Wars?
This was before. Star Wars was 77. This was 72.
Okay.
So it was a young babyface pre-gobbler George Lucas.
Young George Lucas. But yeah, there's a whole full time passing montage where you just see random scenes of people doing normal things, kind of like, I guess, laying low.
Mm-hmm.
Is this when Polly dies?
No, that was way. We passed that.
Damn, we missed Polly getting killed. Damn. Yeah. It's like the day after the Don gets shot.
Mm-hmm.
To backtrack.
Yeah, because you remember y'all were talking about when Sonny's just like, I want that guy dead.
Yeah.
But
it's like that next day.
Yeah, y'all got we got sidetracked with the way that he delivered how nice he was being to Paulie, and then as soon as Paulie left the room, he's just like, I want that guy dead.
Yeah,
so we got sidetracked by another scene that's very similar to that.
With Goodfellas.
Yeah. With Goodfellas, and then we double back.
Yes.
But yeah, after that, he told Clemenza to do it, and he immediately got to it. I think what did he give him, the wine with the oranges or something like that?
That was at the wedding.
That was at the wedding?
Paulie handed Clemenza a thing of wine with oranges in it at the wedding.
Okay.
This is where that scene where they kill Paulie.
They pick him up at Clemenza's house.
Yes. Paulie picks Clemenza up at his house. There's someone else in the back seat. I forget who it is.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just another one of his guys. They take a long ride.
Yeah, because he tells he wants to go look for the mattresses.
Yeah, and the wife is like hollering out the door. It's like, go grab the cannolis.
Don't forget the cannolis.
Mm-hmm.
And when Paulie gets in the car, he tells the guy behind him, hey, move over. You're blocking the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want anyone sitting right behind him. They're driving around the city. They're talking like, hey, you know this spot? They're joking, kidding. And they're out in the middle of what looks like a wheat field.
Mm-hmm. This random wheat field in New York City.
Yep.
That must be up in White Plains. And
they took a long drive. And
drive.
Clemenza says, "I got pull over. I got to take a piss."
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. They pull over, and that's when he does it.
But it's I like the way they do it because it's a big wide shot. You see the field, the road. Mm-hmm. The car is real tiny, and Clemenza's off to the side taking a piss.
You see the city in the background.
Yeah, and Paulie's sitting in the car, and you just see this hand come up behind him with a gun and pop, pop. And then it cuts to Clemenza just like kind of looking over his shoulder like, well, that's taken care of. Mm-hmm. And then he goes back to the car, and it's got that great line, leave the gun, take the cannoli.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And this other car comes out of nowhere, picks him up, and they drive away. That's it. Paulie was out of this movie. And that happened before the hospital scene.
Okay.
So we missed that completely, I think.
Yeah. Goodfellas.
But the circle also back to that. It brings me back to my theory that mattress firms and mattress stores are just like a front. Why do mattress stores actually exist?
People need mattresses.
Yeah. Nobody's buying that many mattresses.
There's a lot of people.
And
I don't know. There's a lot of people sleeping.
And the term the mattresses is it's like a place for people to hide out. So they don't have to stay in their homes.
Like a hotel?
No. It's because you can see in those shots, like the montage Jeremy mentioned, that you see a bunch of guys just sleeping on floors on mattresses. When he says the mattresses, we see in the montage all the guys sleeping on floors on nothing but bare mattresses. We even see Clemenza in a little tiny room with a shitty little mattress, even though we know he has a nice house.
Just in his underwear?
Yeah, that's at the end of the montage. He's just chilling in his underwear. But it's like they're basically just not going home. Like how firefighters stay at the firehouse
for
kind of like their shifts.
Yeah.
I interpret it kind of like that. Like, hey, look, we're in war times.
So it's a safe house.
Kind of like a safe house, yeah.
Okay.
So they want the guys to be comfortable. Just, hey, look, don't go home. You're on standby. That's how I interpreted it.
Okay.
When he says the mattresses.
I thought it was like just a front business, like their olive oil company, their legit business for their fake or their
well, the olive oil company is a legit business, but it also kind of helps with the illegal shit. Yeah.
The laundering of the money in the mattresses.
Yeah. No, the mattresses was actual, let's find a place to hide out.
Gotcha.
On these bare bone mattresses.
So then it cuts to Michael in Italy.
After the montage.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Michael's over in Sicily hiding out with his two bodyguards, Fabrizio, and his other bodyguard's name sounds like Carlo, but it's not.
Okay.
I can't remember the names either. Very forgettable names.
I remember Fabrizio specifically because he's a dick.
Fabrizio and Erwico.
So his two bodyguards are Fabrizio and Carlo.
Oh,
not Carlo.
Gotcha.
Even though when they say Carlo's name, it sounds like Carlo. Yeah. So those are his two bodyguards. They have these big ass shotguns they walk Michael around with. They're giving him a tour. We can see immediately that Fabrizio loves the idea of going to America. These like American GIs drive by in Jeeps, and he's like, "Oh, GI, America, America." They only speak Italian, which Michael talks to them in Italian, but they see this beautiful young girl.
Young being the key phrase.
Very young. So the lady who played Apollonia, the actress at the time they made this movie was like 17.
Oh.
Yeah. The character is also 17.
Yeah. So, like, this is weird modern day viewing.
Mm-hmm. It was 1940s times.
Yeah, and it was made in the 70s. So, they see Apollonia, and, like, all three of the guys are, like, smitten. They're like, oh, she's beautiful. And they go to this little looks like a little restaurant. Mm-hmm. And they're sitting outside, and they're talking to this man. He's real nice and cheerful with them. And they're like, well, what's the name of that girl? And they're all speaking in Italian. Like, what's the name of that girl? She was wearing a purple dress. She had a ribbon in her hair and blah, blah. And some of these guys like, there's no girl in this village like that. Mm-hmm. Get out of here. And he goes inside. He's making a big commotion. You can hear stuff crashing. He's pissed. And Fabrizio goes inside to see what's wrong. And he comes out and goes, we got to go. We need to get the fuck out of Dodge. They're like, why? He goes, we were just talking about his daughter.
Oh, my God.
And Michael says, ask him to come back out here. Like, no, we should go. He goes, no. Ask him to come back out here. And the man comes back out, and he's pissed, and Michael tells Fabrizio to translate. And because we've seen Michael speak Italian, I think this is because it's a different dialect of Italian, maybe. Mm-hmm. Like, I've met guys who are fluent in Spanish from one region, and they'll meet someone from somewhere else and not understand their Spanish.
Yeah, like
that's
people,
what I'm thinking.
Like a Colombian accent is different than a Mexican accent, so you're going to get, it's the same Spanish, but you're going to get different
dialect.
Yes.
That's how I interpreted this. Because
I thought he was in Sicily. Mm-hmm. Wasn't he Sicilian?
Mm-hmm. So I think Michael's Italian is more American New York Italian, where these guys are pure Italian. That's the way I interpreted it.
Okay.
Or maybe his Italian isn't that good.
Maybe.
Because he has Fabrizio translate for him.
You know, like in English, like Southern phrases are not going to be the same as like someone from like Oregon.
Yeah.
Like we're all speaking the same English, but
I used to know a guy from Utah, and I found out like a month after knowing the guy and like being around him every day. I found out like a month later, like we were having a conversation, or rather I was talking to him, and then I was like, hey man, are you listening? And then he just kind of looks at me and he's just like, I don't actually understand what you're saying half the time.
Wow.
And I was just like, seriously? Because I was the first black guy he had ever met.
Oh my
he was from Utah, and he's like, half the time I don't actually know what you were saying.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's what happened. I'm just looking at him like, you're just now telling me this.
It's like we were talking for 2 weeks.
Yeah, a month.
Fucking wild.
I was like, dude,
whoa.
Yeah, it was funny. It was in basic training.
Oh my God.
Yep. He's my battle buddy, so I had to literally be like almost joined at the hip with this guy every day. And then he told me that just randomly one day when we were cleaning our rifles, and I was talking to him, and he's just kind of sitting there just focused on his rifle cleaning it. I'm like, dude, are you listening to me? And he looked at me and he took his glasses off, and he's just like, Bennett, I actually can't understand what you're saying half the time. And I'm just like, wow. I was
what
like,
the fuck?
I was blown away.
You're just now telling me this?
Yeah.
After a month? Damn. So the dialects, I think, are just different from Michael's New York Italian to the actual Sicilian Italian. So with Fabrizio translating for him, he tells him, my name is Michael Corleone. I'm hiding here in Sicily. There are some very dangerous people who would pay a lot of money to know that information. But if they found out where I was, your daughter would lose a father instead of gaining a husband. And so Michael's kind of like backhanded threat right there.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely gambled.
Yeah. This guy, I like what this guy does. I don't remember the man's name, but he pulls his suspenders up to look professional. And he's like, well, I got a young bachelor here trying to marry off my daughter. And when he says that, Fabrizio looks kind of confused. Like, are you really doing this right now?
Are you really trying to get with this child?
She's so young. Why is she so young?
And I get it was the time, but even one of the plot threads of Sense and Sensibility, Jane Austen's book, is the girl Marianne is 17 years old, and they're trying to get her to marry Colonel Brandon, who is 36. And she's like, no, he's too old. So, like, if it's happening in 1882, I think in 1940, Apollonia should have been like, no, I also don't want to marry this 32-year-old man.
Yeah, because I think Michael's also in his 30s.
Yeah.
So, but he does say, though, I will say, Michael tells him, with your permission, and the supervision of your family, he's like, I would like to meet Apollonia. So he does this very respectfully. It's just weird the fact that the woman and the character are so young. So we see lots of scenes of Michael and Apollonia walking through the town in Sicily.
With this herd of women.
Yeah, there's always a group of people with them. They're never alone because Michael wants to be respectful about it. It shows a scene where he gives her a necklace. And then they're sitting down at a table with a whole bunch of people. And she shows Michael she's wearing the necklace. And Michael smiles at her. And then it cuts to the wedding.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't show us exactly how much time has passed. Mm-hmm. But it's quite a bit of time because by the end of this, Michael's jaw is healed. The wire's been taken out and he can speak normally. Mm-hmm. And everywhere he goes, not only is there a herd of people, but there's also Kahlo and Fabrizio. Yep. They're always back there with those guns. We breezed past again. We missed the part where right before Michael kills the two men in the restaurant, that's where he tells Kay to go back home to her parents in New Hampshire.
Where I feel like he fully intended to never see her again.
If what's about to happen had never happened, maybe.
Well, he was planning to kill two people, so.
Yeah, right. Maybe he thought he wasn't going to make it out alive.
That might be it too.
It just was not safe for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, wait, are we bypassing the fact that we also saw this child's tits also in this movie?
We don't have to talk about the boobers.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
That's the wedding night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're there. Fuck it. So
I feel like he pulled a Nick Cannon. You know how Nick Cannon, one of the reasons he married Mariah Carey was so he could sleep with her? I feel like that was Michael's thing. He was like, I would like to sleep with this child. I need to marry her.
Most people get married for that reason.
Yeah, well, most people also, I guess nowadays you're having sex before marriage, but
I would never.
The depreciation of human values.
I think it's less the depreciation of values and more the fact that people aren't giving in to the traditions. Traditions are just, peer pressure from dead people.
Yeah. I mean, it's marriage has changed a lot. So
right. But they get married. They have this really nice wedding ceremony. I think Michael's face is still a little bruised at this point. Mm-hmm. They're walking through. I saw a video recently of Al Pacino doing an interview.
Yes.
This was a long time ago he gave this interview, but it was about this particular scene. So it's after the wedding. They walk down the hill with all the people behind them. The local Don over there in Sicily is in a wheelchair. He's following in the wedding procession. And Michael and Apollonia are passing out candy to their wedding guests. And then they dance in front of everyone and they get in a car and they drive off. Well, when they were filming this scene, Francis Ford Coppola told Al Pacino, you're going to pass out the candy, you're going to talk to the guests. And Al was like, I don't speak Italian, Francis. I don't actually speak that. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. The camera will be way up high. We'll fix it later. Just, say something, double talk, whatever you got to do. He goes, then you're gonna grab the girl and you're gonna waltz. You're gonna dance for everyone. He goes, Francis, I don't waltz. I don't know how to dance. He's like, well, do something. Grab her, swing around, spin, do something. When you're done with that, you're gonna get in the car and you're gonna drive away. And then Al goes, Francis, I don't drive. And he said Francis Ford Coppola was like, why did I hire this guy?
What do you do?
Yeah. So they do all that. It's a really nice scene. I think somewhere around here, Vito comes home from the hospital.
Yeah, he's laying in the bed and his grandchildren come in.
Yeah. It was funny, though, when they were carrying him up the steps in the house to put him in his bedroom, Brando had loaded down his bed with a bunch of extra weights to fuck with the guys carrying him upstairs.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, he was just a fucking asshole and a clown. So his grandkids come in. And this is, again, you can see a lot of the love he has for his family. He's very happy to see everyone. Everyone's standing around the bed. They're telling him, Fredo's gonna go out to Vegas. He's gonna get into that game, and Fredo's kind of like timidly is like, I'm gonna get into the casino business, because Fredo doesn't have a big part in the crime organization. They don't see him as that talented.
He's not the smartest tool in the shed.
He's not. He tries to be good for his family, but he's not as ruthless as Vito, Sonny, or Michael is going to be.
He's definitely the black sheep.
Hell, even I feel like Connie is more badass than Fredo.
Connie has a good moment in the third film, if we ever get there. But
Never.
Connie, by the way, never mentioned it. Connie is played by Talia Shire, who is actually the sister of the director.
And also, Adrian Balboa.
She's Adrian Balboa in the first 5 Rocky films. And in real life, she and her brother Francis are aunt and uncle to one Nicolas Cage.
She's also the mother of Jason Bateman.
That surprised me. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Until recently. Yeah.
She is in the mix.
Yep. So we're back in Vito's room. They're telling him the casino thing. Like, look, the cop and Talia was killed. Sonny had him killed, but also Sollozzo is dead, so we don't got to worry about that. And Vito can barely speak, but he goes, "Where's Michael?" He doesn't see him in the room. And Tom is kind of hesitant. He doesn't really want to tell him this, but he leans in and he goes, "Michael's the one that actually did the hit." And you can tell Vito is shaken by this, because he this is not something he wanted from Michael. And he tells everyone to leave. He's like, get out. And he's actually clutching in his hand.
Clutching his pearls?
He's clutching his pearls. And in his pearls are cards from his grandchildren.
Yeah.
Ben loves his family. And is it around here where Sonny goes to visit Connie?
Yeah, they're having dinner, I think, in the family. And Connie's talking, and then Carla was like, "Shut up," or something. And then Sonny's like, "If you speak to my sister like that again, I'm going to beat your ass."
Oh, that's okay. I think that's, yes.
Because that's before. And then when we see them again, Connie like has that black eye.
Yeah. It's, Sonny's talking about business at the table. Mm-hmm. And Connie says, we don't discuss business at the table. And that's when Carlo tells her to shut up. Mm-hmm. Sonny's like, "You don't talk to her that way." And then Carlo starts talking about business again. And Sonny goes, "We don't talk about business at the table."
Yep.
I love that love he has for his sister.
Like, he loves his sister.
Yeah, he loves his family. He's got a hot temper. He cheats on his wife, but he loves his family.
He loves the people he's related to.
Yeah. Yeah, because we only see his wife in like 2 scenes.
Yeah.
The wedding and the part right after Tom gets kidnapped.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for the rest of the movie, she's gone. But he goes to Connie's house, and he sees she has a black eye, and she's got a big fat lip.
Yep.
And she's like, "No, it was my fault. It was my fault." And we see Carlos out in the street hanging out on some stoop. He's got that orange suit on, again orange. And Sonny shows up, and Sonny just beats the shit out of this guy.
He's throwing him in the street.
He's throwing him. He's hitting him with trash cans, trash can lids. I love the part where Carlo had his hand on the railing, and Sonny was biting his fingers.
Yeah, he was trying to get her to let go of the railing.
Yeah. I love that. He was beating the ever-loving snot out of this guy. And he tells him, "If you ever touch my sister again, I'll fucking kill you. Or you're fucking dead," or something like that. Mm-hmm. Where do we go next after that?
Is this when Connie's running through the house breaking things?
It's a little after that when Connie's pregnant, and she gets a phone call from a woman who's like, "Hey, tell Carlo I'm not going to be able to make it tonight." And Carlo's getting ready for something, and she says something like, he says that he's not hungry, and she goes, "You told me to make dinner." And she says something about, go see that whore, and she's smashing shit, and Carlo tells her to clean it up, and she's like, "Fuck you," and he starts. This woman is pregnant.
But she also she's running and crying and trashing the house, throwing plates, ripping bread apart, and tossing pasta.
This motherfucker takes his belt off and starts beating his pregnant wife. Mm-hmm. And we don't see it. She goes into another room. We just hear it from outside of the bathroom. No one wants to watch a pregnant woman get smacked around.
No. This man did not get his ass beat enough for me. No. Like, the way he was treating Connie, I was like, what happens to him? I'm like, it should have been worse. It should have been worse.
Yeah. So this is where Connie calls Sonny. She's crying on the phone, and Sonny's like, he did what? He's mad. He loses that temper.
Mm-hmm.
He's known for that hot temper. He gets into a car by himself.
Because they're like, hey, wait.
Tom tells him, hey, wait, let's get some other guys down here. Sonny says, no, I'm leaving. He drives out. Tom sends some guys to follow him. Mm-hmm. And Sonny goes out, and he's driving down this causeway, and this is where we see a big sign for orange juice. Mm-hmm. And they put that there to hide a building. There's a modern building behind that shot, so they had to hide it somehow. And he pulls up to this booth, and he gives the teller his money, and the teller drops a coin. And the teller's like, "Ooh, let me get that." And he bends down, and the door shuts, and all these guys in these other booths pop up with guns. The car in front of him, they step out with guns, and Sonny is gunned down on this causeway.
Like, it is obnoxious how many bullets fly into this man.
This man, he had so many squibs on his suit, because he even makes it out of the car.
Yeah.
And he's standing there getting shot.
Because, like, there was a split second I was like, damn, their aim is terrible. And then he, like, hops out the car, and then they, like, riddle his body with bullets.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he's laying there on the ground, they shoot him some more, and they kick him in the face.
Yep.
Then his backup shows up right after that. Everyone's gone. Sonny's just laying there dead.
They didn't even fully go. Like, they didn't fully drive up to the body because they just knew. They were like, yeah, he is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got Bonnie and Clyde hard.
Yeah. It's actually lucky that no one else got in that car with him because they
real.
also would have been dead.
Yeah.
Nobody was surviving that.
No.
I was really sad by his death. Like, everyone else, I was like, aw, bummer. But, like, Sonny, I was like, damn.
Sonny was an actual character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sonny he wasn't an awful Don, but he did act on emotions too quickly. Mm-hmm. Whereas his father is more, let me stop, let me think about this, let me get all the information, then I'll act. Sonny's more like, all right, that happened, I'm going to respond to it. Mm-hmm. But he did care about the people around him. He was just too hot-headed, and he paid for it. Instead of stopping to think for a minute and coming up with a plan, he went out and got himself killed. They knew he was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wouldn't even say it's like him having a temper. It's like, this asshole beat the shit out of my sister. Mm-hmm. I gotta go get my sister.
But they knew he would react that way. They knew he would be in a rush to get there.
Because it's his sister. I don't think it's like his temper that really did it. I think they played more on his emotions of his love for his sister.
Well, I think that's part of it, but also the fact that they knew if we specifically get the sister, if the sister is involved in this somehow, it'll be easier
for him to show up in person
to trigger a reaction.
Yeah. Okay. He was entirely too predictable to be running that family because it's just like you need to be not necessarily running it from the shadows or anything like that, but you don't want people to just know where you're going to be at all times.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if I play this hand, I know this guy's going to appear here. It's
like the only way they knew where Vito was going to be the day they shot him, Paulie. Where with Sonny, it's like, all right, well, let's just get him mad.
Or fuck with his sister.
Which made him mad. The next scene is Tom sitting alone in Vito's office in the dark. And Vito walks in. And this is the first time Vito's been on his feet for like an hour of the movie. And he sits down with Tom and he says, why is my wife upstairs crying?
My wife is upstairs crying and no one will talk to me.
Yeah, that's what he says. And Tom said, I was just about to come tell you. He goes, but you had to have a drink first? He goes, yeah, all right, well, you've had your drink. Now tell me what you have to tell me. He tells him, Sonny Santino is dead. And Brando has this very controlled but obvious breakdown about hearing his son has been murdered. And he tells Tom to call the other families and set up a meeting. He says he wants this war to stop now. And call the Undertaker from the beginning of the film. Mm-hmm. Tom calls the Undertaker and he says, hey, I'm calling on behalf of Don Vito Corleone. He will be at your business in 1 hour. Be there to meet him. And when they get there, the man is waiting there as he requested of him. And Vito told him at the beginning, I'm going to do this favor for you, and one day I'm going to come to you and ask you a favor. And this is that day. And he tells him, I want you to use all your skills and all your power to make my son look presentable. And this is where he has that great little scene of, look how they massacred my boy.
Look what they did to my boy.
Yeah, I don't want his mother to see him like this. And he pulls the blanket back. And we don't actually see too much of it, but you can definitely see red. From the bullet wounds.
That man riddled with bullets.
But they don't really show you anything gory.
Yeah.
But they just see Sonny's body there. And you can see the Undertaker, when the Undertaker sees him, he's kind of like, oh, this is going to take me all night.
Oh, it's going to take all the work he can do.
I need way more embalming fluid than I have. And the clay they put on people. Is the next part where Vito actually goes to the sit down with the other families?
Yes.
And this is where we actually see all 5 of them together for the first time in the whole movie. Like we talked about it. I think this was the first time we've seen Barzini since the wedding. I think he was at the wedding. He was at a table, and there's a photographer taking photos, and Barzini's quick to be like, "Hey, get that camera." The guy snatches the camera. He destroys the film. He crumples it up because he doesn't want his picture taken. Vito comes in and he's like, "Look, this war with us needs to stop. I'm not going to hold anyone here accountable for what happened to me or my son Sonny. What's done is done." And he tells Talia, nothing's going to bring your son back. Nothing is going to bring my son back. And Barzini has that moment where he's like, well, you have all the judges and the congressmen in your pocket. You should be sharing it with us. And Vito is very good at sitting and listening to get information instead of listening and responding. That was Sonny's thing. Sonny would rather listen to have a response than listen to understand what you're saying. Vito is very calm in this moment. This basically is what's telling Vito that Sollozzo was not the head of this war that was started. Mm-hmm. It was Barzini. Mm-hmm. Barzini wanted Vito's power, and because Vito wouldn't share it, they thought they would take it.
Mm-hmm. But it's also like, why would they expect Vito to share the power? Like, he made these connections, yeah.
They tried to buy it off him. They did not expect him to just freely share it. They tried to buy it off him with a generous offer.
From Sollozzo.
Because they knew it was going to take a lot. Mm-hmm. Because he was not willing to have drugs pushed into this thing that they were doing.
Okay.
One of the guys at the table does have a comment about, I don't care if it's in black communities, but I don't want it in mine. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, we kind of saw that happen later on down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how you know it's bad. Like, they're literally just like, I do not want that stuff in my community. Mm-hmm. It's gonna cause problems with the other stuff I have going on. Drugs is just too unpredictable. Mm-hmm. People get on drugs, they do crazy things that they don't do when they're drunk or when they're gambling.
There's a comic had a joke. I don't remember who said this, but he said the difference between an alcoholic and a junkie is an alcoholic will steal your purse and drink themselves to death over guilt about it. A junkie will steal your purse and then help you look for it.
Yep.
And I wish I could remember who said that. It's a great quote. But Vito again tells them in this moment, like, look, I don't want drugs. I'm not in on this. I don't care if it's going to be profitable in a certain amount of time. I don't like it. But I want peace. I want this to stop. I want this to end the bloodshed, and I want my son Michael to come home. And he says, does he say on the life of his grandchildren?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So on the life of my grandchildren, if my son Michael is allowed to come home, I will not break this peace, no matter what.
And he will not break it.
He will not break the peace. Mm-hmm. And he has this great, let's call it, it's like a threat almost. Actually, no, it is a threat, a promise. He said, if anything should happen to my son, whether he's killed in a car accident, he is shot, if he's struck by lightning, he will hold the people in this room responsible. Mm-hmm. I love that. It's great.
And he would.
Yeah. He's like, look, I lost one son. Okay. I can't undo that. But if I lose another, I'm taking all of you with me. Mm-hmm. I think this is also the last time we see Vito in a suit. For the rest of this movie, he's kind of business casual.
I mean, this is the last time Vito's the head of the family.
Yeah, he's pretty much semi-retired after this, as Tom describes it later. But on the drive home after the meeting, this is where he tells Tom, like, it was Barzini. I'm positive it was Barzini. Mm-hmm. Now I know for sure. The way Barzini was really pushing for the fact that Vito should share his connections, which is another thing Sollozzo was pushing for him to share. Mm-hmm. That kind of cements for him that this is the motherfucker that's responsible for all this.
Which sucks that Tattaglia had to take shots for it.
Tattaglia's son was also involved in it, yeah. And that's one of the things Vito uses to help confirm or to get him to come along with this truce. Like, hey, you lost a son, I lost a son. We can't undo that, but we can stop this right now. Mm-hmm. And they have this nice little hug at the end of the meeting. And Barzini's kind of sitting there looking like, this did not go how I wanted. I was really hoping he would fold now. The Don shows up in Sicily to tell Michael about Sonny. And he's like, bad news from America. Your brother Santino is dead. And this is where Michael is like, all right, well, I gotta go home now. He tells Fabrizio to get the car and load up his bags. And Fabrizio asks him a few questions before he does that. He goes, are you gonna be driving? He goes, yeah. Is it just gonna be you in the car? Yeah. Okay, boss. I got you. No problem. I got you. And he goes to Kahlo and tells him, we're leaving. And Kahlo's like, oh, hold on, boss. I got your bags. And he's sitting there drinking alone. Mm-hmm. And Apollonia gets in the car. And we'd seen earlier in the film Michael teaching her how to drive. In the scene, actually, where he finds out Sonny is dead, he was teaching Apollonia how to drive. And she was loving it. She was having a great time. Mm-hmm. Probably because she wasn't old enough to have a permit yet.
She's older now.
I know.
She's
I
19.
know. It's been a while. He's been over there a while.
He's 20 now.
It's just, So she gets in the car and he's walking downstairs and Fabrizio's walking away in kind of a rush. Mm-hmm. And he's like, Fabrizio, where are you going? And he's just like, kind of looks at Michael in a panic and he just takes off. And Michael's looking at Fabrizio. Apollonia in the car. Fabrizio. He goes, Apollonia, no! Yep. And this car explodes. And it looks like the bomb was in the trunk. Mm-hmm. But I love you can see like the shredded dummy they used for Apollonia.
Yeah, because like her arms hang in there. Her dress
is all blown apart. Yeah. Michael gets blown back into the bushes. Which sucks, man. It really sucks that this girl went out that way.
Yeah, because she was also pregnant too.
Yeah, she was pregnant. Yep. I don't think that's something they touched on in the movie, but it's part of the book, I think, that she was pregnant. But it's just it's oh man, this woman was so excited to show her husband, like, look, I'm gonna drive us. Uh-huh. And it does this really it's for me, this is a jarring cut because I think the next scene is Kay at the schoolhouse. Mm-hmm. And she's got these little kids and she's walking down the street and Michael's there in a nice suit and he tells her he's been back for a year. Like the movie just like, fuck it. Let's skip ahead.
Whole year time skip.
Whole year with no kind of indication except for this bit of dialogue. This movie is very fast. And he's telling Kay, I came home. I'm taking over the family business. And she says, I thought you weren't about that life. And he basically tells her, well, things have changed.
And like she knows
about that life.
She knows what life it is, and she's still like, you know what? It's fine. I'm still gonna go be with this man who also abandoned me 5 years ago, randomly.
Kay's desperate.
Yeah. Kay, by the way, played by a very young Diane Keaton.
With the worst hair in the world.
She doesn't have good hair in this film.
No, she doesn't.
But it's so weird seeing her in this because in my mind, Diane Keaton is always that same middle-aged older lady from movies in my childhood.
Like, she looks exactly the same now as she did 20 years ago when she was old. Mm-hmm. Like, she's hit 55 and was like, this is the look I will be maintaining forever.
Was she in the First Wives Club?
Yeah.
Yes, that's how I always picture her. So seeing her in this, it looks like a totally different person to me.
Which is wild because I think the First Wives Club came out in like 1980 something.
Oh, I thought it was 90s.
Oh, was it 90s?
It might be. I'm not sure.
You're right, 96.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the Diane Keaton I picture in my mind. So Michael basically tells her like, look, Kay, I want to marry you. This is a new me. And they just get in a car and they drive off. And then I think the next scene, it skips even more time because now they have like a 3-year-old.
Yeah, a son.
Mm-hmm. Anthony. And Michael's going to visit his father for a meeting. And Vito tells him, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. They do go for a meeting. And the Don basically tells Clemenza, Tessio, Tom, Michael's in charge now. Mm-hmm. Michael's running things, and Michael's first point of action is to fire Tom as the consigliere. Mm-hmm. And he tells him, Tom, this is nothing on you, but you are not a wartime consigliere. And they are moving the family business out of New York, and they are moving to Vegas. Tessio and Clemenza both are against this. They don't like it. They asked Don Vito, they were like, look, you promised us years ago that when the time came, we could split off and start our own families. We are requesting that now. And Vito says, do you trust me? He said, yes, of course, Godfather. He says, I need you to trust Michael. Michael knows what he's doing.
Which sucks for Tom, because I like Tom. He's a good character. And he does a good job. He's like doing everybody's business. And he just like keeps taking hits from people throughout this whole movie. And he's like doing the best that he can. And then like it just comes to a head and they're like, yeah, so you're fired. There's
a great redemption moment for that in part 2.
Okay, good.
The Carlo is there. Mm-hmm. He's got Carlo.
Yeah, they promote fucking Carlo.
He's now part of the family, even though earlier in the film, Don Vito said, yeah, we're going to give him some low-level thing to do. He's not going to be part of our actual business.
They don't just like make him part of the family. He becomes the underboss, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, if he does, I missed that completely.
Yeah.
Because I know in this moment, when he fires Tom, he makes his father the consigliere. Mm-hmm. But I don't remember him making Carlo the underboss. He does send Carlo out to learn the Vegas stuff ahead of them. But that does play into the thing of, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer.
That's a little too close.
It works, though.
Like, Carlo comes up too much in this movie. And he doesn't get, like, retribution that I need him to have.
Hey, we'll get there. Is it after this scene? This is where Michael and Vito have that little conversation in the garden. And Vito tells him, look, whoever comes to you with this Barzini meeting, they're going to be a traitor. They're going to send someone you trust. They're going to tell you you're going to go to an area that you feel safe, and they're going to assassinate you. But remember that. Whoever comes to you with that meeting, that's the traitor. Mm-hmm. They know they have a traitor somewhere in their family, but they don't know where yet. And Michael or Tom are thinking it's Clemenza, but they're not sure. They want to wait.
Clemenza's such a good guy.
I love Clemenza. So they're playing everything close to their chest. They're making themselves seem weak so that their enemies think that they are in control. So, and people don't like that. They think that Michael doesn't have the edge his father does. But really, he's playing things just like his father would. And he's being trained by his father on how to be a good leader. Oh, they also have 2 kids by this point, by the way. Michael and Kay. 2 children.
So you got to boost up the numbers.
Mm-hmm. Because they think that Barzini is the one that ordered the hit on Sonny. That's what they're waiting for, that moment to strike.
Mm-hmm. So then...
This is where they go to Vegas.
Yes, okay.
Michael flies out to Vegas. Michael has this really nice black suit with this red tie. And this is where we see him fully taking on that Don persona. Mm-hmm. And he goes out, he meets Fredo. Fredo's got this really ugly outfit on. He's got those big, ugly, like the collar on the shirt goes way down past like the lapel on a jacket.
And we see Johnny for the first time in a really long time.
Yeah, Johnny's here. We haven't seen Johnny since the wedding. Mm-hmm. They're taking him to a hotel, and Fredo's like, "Oh, come on in. And he's got this party waiting for his brother. His little brother's there. He's so excited to see him. He's got a band. He's got girls. He's got Johnny. And Michael immediately is like, Fredo, I'm here for business. Tell him to leave.
Get rid of the girls.
Get him out of here. Come on. Quit thinking with your dick. Get him out of here. And Fredo's like, get out of here. Go on. Go. We don't want you here anymore. Michael sits down with Johnny, and he's like, look, we're trying to get into the casino business. My father would like to ask a favor of you, or your Don would like to ask a favor of you, if you would appear 5 times a year at our casinos. And you can see Johnny is like, I really don't want to do that, but his godfather's asking a favor of him. So yeah, Michael, of course I'll do that. Michael's like, great, I love to hear that. I love it when people don't tell me no. This is where we finally meet Mo Green. I think they mentioned earlier when Fredo first went out to Vegas that they were sending him out there to train under Mo Green, who is a casino guy. He runs casinos.
I think they based him off of what, Bugsy Siegel or...
Bugsy Siegel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was
The guy who like founded the Vegas Strip.
Yeah, he was also assassinated.
Well, you know,
in his living room.
Shit happens.
So Mo comes in. Mo's like, real nice to Michael, and Michael is not really there for pleasantries. He really is just straight to the point, and he goes, "Corleone family wants to buy you out." And he says, "You buy me out? No. You don't buy me out. You guys don't have that pull anymore." Michael says, you lose money. You're not doing so hot. We want to buy you out. I can get on the phone right now with Barzini and get a better deal. So boom, right there. This guy's also working with Barzini.
Mm-hmm.
They have a firm belief that Barzini is the scumbag behind all the trouble that's caused them in the last 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
So Mo gets pissed off, and Fredo goes to Tom. He goes, "Tom, you're the consigliere. Talk to the Don." And Tom very quickly, "Whoa, hold on. Wait a minute. The Don is semi-retired. Any business you have to do, you have to go through Michael." And Mo just leaves. And this is where Fredo has that little thing where he goes, "Mike, you don't come to Las Vegas and talk to a man like Mo Green like that." Michael's just sitting there smoking that cigarette. And he goes, "Fredo, you're my older brother, and I love you. But don't ever take sides with anyone against the family again. Ever." And this is where we're seeing even more and more of Michael descending into that darkness of his family.
It's also the scene where we find out Fredo was also getting beat up by Mo Green.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yep.
Mo was slapping him around.
Yeah.
What did he say? He said I had to straighten him out.
Yeah.
And Michael, very coldly looking at Mo, goes, "You straightened out my brother?"
It was just business.
Yeah. Michael does not like that at all.
Mm-hmm. And then it cuts to Kay saying that Connie wants you to be the godfather to their son, or to the daughter, right?
That was before Michael had that meeting with all the guys, and they found out Michael was in charge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Connie was.
Connie also just stays pregnant in this whole movie. It's like the wedding, and then she's pregnant, and then she's pregnant forever.
Yeah, Michael even said in that moment, he goes, I'll think about it. He's not sure yet.
Yeah.
No, this is where we get to the scene of Vito in the garden with Anthony.
Oh, right.
He's playing with his grandson in the garden. It looks like they're playing around. Looks like tomato plants.
Yeah, trying to water them. With
He's got his like water gun. He's showing him, "Oh, do it like this, and he's playing. He's like, hold on, stay right there. And he puts these orange rinds in his teeth, and he's like, no, I'm kidding. You run over there. I'm gonna chase you. And he's playing with his grandson out in the garden, and suddenly he starts to cough, and this is where Vito dies. He has a heart attack. He dies in the garden in front of his grandson, which sucks.
That poor kid's scarred for life.
Definitely. Very unceremonious death.
Yeah, for such a
character.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I couldn't find the right words. Yeah, such a character. At the funeral, all the characters show up. All the other dons, all the underbosses, everyone's there. And Michael remembered that thing his father said of that whoever comes to you with this Barzini deal is going to be the traitor. It shows Tessio, Sally, go over to Barzini and talk to him.
Shakes his
hand. And because they were watching people throw flowers onto Vito's casket. And one of them was Clemenza. And Clemenza throws the flowers on, pays his respects. But after Tessio talks to Barzini, he walks over to Michael and says, "Mike, can I talk to you for a second?" Barzini wants to set up a meet in Tessio's own territory. And Michael says, "Yeah, it's good. We'll do that." And this is also the scene where we see Al Neri for the first time. He's standing behind Michael and Tom. He's standing there with the sunglasses on.
Who's Al Neri?
Al Neri is Michael's very own Luca Brasi.
Oh, okay.
He's one of the 4 actors that's in all 3 films. He's barely in 1. He gets more screen time in 2 and 3.
He's the guy that's standing there with the glasses, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. He's the one that used to be a cop.
Right.
Yes, that's Al Neri. That's Michael's Luca.
Okay.
Do we see how they meet in part 2?
No, we don't see how they meet. There is a story behind it. I forget what it is exactly. Al's not a good guy.
Oh.
But he's good at what he does. He's loyal.
I love that for him.
Tom says to Michael that, I always thought it would be Clemenza who'd be the traitor. Because he spoke up more at the moment where Michael put his plans into effect, and he didn't like that. He goes, no, he's too smart for that. Or Tessio is too smart to make it seem too obvious.
So then it cuts to the actual baptism?
Yeah, so the day of the... Michael did agree to be godfather to Connie's baby. The baby, played by...
Sofia Coppola.
Yes, Sofia Coppola, the director's daughter, playing little...
And her best acting role, for being honest.
She's not good. She's in part 3. She plays Michael's daughter in part 3.
I want to be known,
Mary.
I haven't seen part 3. I've just seen clips of part 3.
Her acting's not good.
It's not good.
It's not. So we're at this baptism of the baby, and Michael's swearing to be the godfather, and they're asking, do you renounce evil? Do you promise to is it like be faithful to God?
Or something like that.
Kind of like that. And during this whole time, we see some of Michael's guys. We see Clemenza. We see Richie Chichi. We see Al Neri. I think we see some other guys. I don't remember their names, but they're all getting ready for stuff. Like Chichi's getting a shave at a hotel. He walks across the street. We see poor Clemenza. He's walking up these stairs.
He's struggling.
He's struggling. He's sweating. He's wiping his face. He's like, oh, I should have taken the elevator. But he's walking up these stairs. Al Neri is in his apartment getting on like an old police uniform. He's got a badge and an old revolver. It shows him standing out, and he's telling this driver to move. Clemenza's walking up the stairs. Chi-Chi's walking, getting the shave. I'm trying to remember who else. It shows some unnamed goon out in Vegas. But basically, while Michael is swearing on this baptism to be a good religious figure for this baby, he is having all of his enemies killed. Mm-hmm.
It's a good scene specifically because I think at the moment he like agrees to it, when he says "I do," it's when all the shots go off.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, I like that. So it's got some unnamed guys kicking a hotel room. And there's...
that poor woman in that bed.
Oh, yeah. It's just a woman in bed with the older Tatalia.
Mm-hmm.
They gun both of them down. One of the few casualties we see in this movie.
Yeah, one of the accidental ones.
Yeah, almost everyone that dies in this movie is related to the business in some way. I'd say it's just her and Apollonia. Mm-hmm. Mo Green is getting a massage, and some unnamed guy walks in, shoots him right in the eye. The other two, whose names I don't remember, unfortunately, one is in a revolving door.
Yep. And
this is the one that Chi-Chi kills. He locks him in the door and he shoots him a couple times in the chest. Mm-hmm. Clemenza gets the one guy on the elevator. He's walking up the stairs with his box, and he opens the box, and it's got a double-barrel shotgun in it. And he just blows these guys away in the elevator. Because they're about to step out, and they see him, and he kicks them back in, and bam, bam. And Neri is pretending to be a cop outside this what looks like a courthouse. He's giving this guy a ticket. Barzini comes out with one of his guards. It's his car. The guy goes down to see what's going on, and Al shoots the driver. He shoots the bodyguard, and Barzini's running up the stairs, and he shoots Barzini twice in the back. Mm-hmm. So all of these guys are gone. Because Vito, like we said earlier, Vito promised, no matter what, I will not break the peace. Michael told him at that scene in the garden, their last scene together, you made that promise. I didn't. Mm-hmm. I never promised not to break the peace. After the baptism, they're outside. They're kind of celebrating. And Michael tells Carlo, hey, our Vegas trip is canceled. I need you to go home. And Michael shows up at his house. It's been years at this point since Sonny died. And Michael just tells him, you got to answer for Santino. And Carlo's trying to play innocent. He's like, look, what are you talking about, Mike? I didn't do anything. He goes, no. You're the one that fingered him for Barzini's people. Don't lie to me. He tells him, sit down. He goes, look, Carlo, do you think I would make my sister a widow? I'm godfather to your child. I'm not going to hurt you. Come on, buddy. He has a great, just the coldness, the way he delivers this line.
He's like, don't say you're innocent because it would insult my intelligence.
And it makes me very angry.
Yeah.
I love that. And he goes, now who was it? Was it Barzini or Tatalia? And he says, it was Barzini. And Michael had told him, look, Barzini's dead. Tatalia is dead. Mo Green is dead. The other two heads of the families are dead. I put a close on all family business today. It's like, it's over. Just tell me how you were involved. He's like, after he tells him, it was Barzini, tells him, look, you're done. I don't want to see you again. I'm giving you a plane ticket. And he reaches out for Tom, and Tom pulls his plane ticket out of his pocket. You're going to go to Vegas, and you're going to stay there. I'm not going to see your face again. And he's like, we're going to pack you some bags. And he goes to try to hug Michael and say, I'm sorry. And Michael's like, get out of my sight. What the fuck did you expect to happen? You just admitted to helping get his brother killed, and you're trying to hug him?
Right?
Like, shut the fuck up. But when he goes outside, he gets in the car, and Clemenza's in the back seat. Mm-hmm. And he says something like, hi, Peter. And he goes, hi, Kala. And when Michael walks out, and Michael has the worst hat on.
It's not that bad.
I hate it. It's almost like a bowler hat mixed with a fedora.
Yeah.
I think it's hideous. It's not intimidating at all.
It's definitely somebody's like grandpa's church hat.
Oh, absolutely. But when they walk out of the house, I don't know if this is just the way they filmed it or if it was an actual intentional signal for the movie. But Tom loosens his tie when they walk out. And when Tom loosens his tie, it cuts back to the inside of the car, and Clemenza garrotes Kahlo and pulls him into the back seat. And Kahlo is kicking so hard, he kicks out the front windshield of this car. And Michael's just standing there watching with no expression on his face.
Mm-hmm. He needed worse stuff. He needed some torture. I needed him to be tortured a little bit more.
Getting choked to death like that is pretty bad.
Yeah.
And they made him feel safe first.
I still want him to...
And then in a car? That's like, there's no space
I don't know.
escape. And it's almost just, it's like getting... Well, I mean, you are getting suffocated in a sense,
but it's Clemenza too, and Clemenza's twice his fucking size. Yeah. He's not getting away from him.
I still rather they took him to a locker room, beat his ass a little bit, then choked him. He needed a little bit more for me to be satisfied.
I'm with you on that. Yeah. But Michael comes across as the quick and swift, or swift and clean kind of kill. Like, look, it's enough for me knowing you're dead. Now, in the long run, this is not what his sister wanted, because the very next shot is...
Connie's a dumbass.
Well, yeah. But Connie has a great scene in 3. But we see that they've sold the Corleone estate. It's been sold. It's got a big sign.
It was like 56 acres or something like that?
It was big.
Yeah.
It was big. And they're clearing out all the furniture, and Connie comes running in. She's like, where is he? Where's that son of a bitch? And she's just straight up accusing Michael. He's like, you killed my husband. You waited for Papa to be dead so that no one could stop you, and you killed him. And Michael the whole time is like, this lady's crazy. What's she talking about? Kay's standing right there.
Kay's like, he wouldn't do that.
He wouldn't hurt a fly. Yeah. But he has this thing he says when he's escorting out of the room. Al Neary escorts her out of the room. He goes, get her a doctor. Like, for what? We can do drug her up?
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's get some drugs in this lady. She's crazy.
You know what they do to hysterics in the 40s.
Mm-hmm. Electroshock. And then Kay is like, did you do it? Did you kill him? So Kay is asking him, did you kill these people? There are all these deaths the day of this baptism. He goes, don't ask me about my business. Michael, did you do this? Don't ask me about my business, Kay. And she asks him one more time. And this is where we actually finally see Al Pacino get angry in this movie. Mm-hmm. He's been very calm the entire film. This is the only time he ever yells. He's like, stop it! And he tells her, I'll let you ask me one time about my affairs. One time. And this is such a great change from the beginning of the film. At the beginning of the film, he was totally open with Kay, honest, told her everything. Mm-hmm. And now at the end of the movie, he's cutting her out. And when she asks him this time, he tells her, no, I didn't do this. And she believes him. And I think she's believing him just for her own comfort. Mm-hmm. I think she knows who her husband is.
Almost definitely.
But I don't know what she expected when she got in that car with him all those years ago. After she was like, she was like, senators and presidents don't have people killed. And he's like, Kay, come on.
Now who's being naive?
Right? And she still willfully got in the car with him, knowing he was going to lead this family. Like, what was she expecting?
Because I think he told her right in that scene that he was taking over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she, not a willing participant, but she was willing to act like it wasn't happening. Then she leaves the office, and you see Clemenza in there, and Clemenza calls Michael Don Corleone. He kisses his ring, and Al Neri walks up, closes the door, and the last shot of this film is the door literally being closed on Kay. She's being cut out of the real Michael in his life. And that's it. That's our movie.
I don't know if you brought it up before, Erica, but you were talking about how him becoming the Godfather for the child is literally him becoming like the Godfather, what his father was before him.
Yes, okay.
That was him. Like he really came into his own into that role. Like that's when he truly was the Godfather. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna become the Godfather for this kid. I'm gonna have all my enemies taken out. I'm gonna have all my affairs like settled.
Oh, you know what else we missed? Tessio.
Oh.
There's a shot at the house where Tessio and Tom are leaving to go to the Barzini meeting, and Richie Chichi walks up and tells him, the boss can't make it. He wants you two to go ahead. He'll come in a separate car. And Tessio tells him, that screws up all my arrangements.
That's right.
And then Tom steps back and goes, I can't go either. And these guys surround Tessio. And this is where Tessio realizes, the jig is up. And he just tells Tom, tell Michael it was only business. I always liked him.
I think
he knows that, Sally.
His death is one of my favorite deaths in the sense because he's like, he knows it's about to happen. And he's like, still like, all right, well, I can't get out of this.
He does ask Tom, though. He goes, Tom, can you get me off the hook for old time's sake? Tom says, can't do it, Sally. And they take him and put him in a car, and it's the last time we see Tessio. But it in the moment where he tells him it was only business, it has this quick little shot of Robert Duvall, and Robert Duvall is like just standing there. He looks like a turtle.
Yeah. He's
got just a funny expression on his face. He looks to one of the guys next to him and looks back at Tessio real quick. It's nothing important at all to the movie. It's just a funny shot. And, man, I can't believe we missed that. Granted, we missed a lot of stuff in this episode. We were kind of all over the place. It is a long movie, everybody.
Yes.
You got to give us a break. And I fucked up this week and didn't take notes. I know. I didn't do my homework. I did watch the movie. Just didn't take notes.
Which is wild because I took notes.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And as you guys can tell right now, Corey's absent, which sucked because this was his pick. He wanted to watch it. He did watch it, and we'll get his thoughts on it right now.
So my thoughts on The Godfather, to be fair, is it was a phenomenal movie. I loved it. The cinematography was really captivating for me. It really made you feel like you were in that time. Like it actually, the grittiness and like the graininess on the film for like when I was watching it, they did a lot of, at the time, photography and stuff that you can feel that you're back there. And the storytelling was impeccable. And just how detailed they were for each character. With how many characters they were, you had to have distinguishing traits. And that's kind of what drew me to it. And the lore of it going into a trilogy. And so I think it was a phenomenal movie, and I can't wait to watch the second one.
Oh, that's great, man. I'm glad you liked it. I'll insert something later. I'll get him to record something. Okay. Throw it in later.
I do want to point out, like, it's a weird message for this movie is giving. Like, it's a movie about a man's downfall. And it's like, it's literally the love of his family that brought on his demise. So it's like,
is it though?
Yeah, the only reason he got into the family business is because he wanted to avenge what happened to his father.
Is the love of his family what brought about his demise, or is it that he decided, I'm going to be a criminal?
Well, he decided to become a criminal because of the love of his family.
Listen, if I knew right now that members of my family were bona fide criminals, do you think I would go get mixed up in that stuff?
How much do you... Well, Michael loves his family that much.
I love my family, too.
Yeah.
A lot. But I am not about to go do bona fide criminal things with them when I know they're doing things that are going to get them killed or get them jailed. And then the people that I love and my friends would also get dragged into that if I decided to also be a part of that.
Yeah.
I think it just goes to show how different you and Michael are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I actually...
Because Michael made those choices.
Michael did make those choices. I think Erica has a good point with that, though, because Vito getting shot, Michael went to the hospital. Michael was there with him. The cop punched him out. They were coming up with the plan to get back at the guy who shot his father and the cop who was involved in it. Because everyone else would be too suspicious, Michael volunteered to be the one to do it. Michael's like, I'll kill them. These guys came at my family. Mm-hmm. I will take them out. I think Erica has a really good point. That it's the love of his family caused his downfall. Because he had nothing to do with it until Vito got shot. Once they saw that newspaper at the beginning and saw Vito had been shot, that's where Michael got involved.
I think, like, the love of family is the downfall of this whole entire family. Like, you look at how much Vito loves his family, it eventually causes the decline in his power and the rise of Michael. You look at how much Sonny loved his family, he went to go avenge his sister and ends up in his death.
I would argue that Vito's love of his family was not his downfall.
No?
It was the efforts of others. Because if they had just left Vito alone, nothing would have happened.
Yeah, but they knew they could target his family to get to Vito.
Right. Well, no.
Because Barzini went after, like, yeah, he shot Carlo, but they knew that, or not shot, they shot Vito, mm-hmm. and they were like, okay, well, that didn't kill him, but they were like, okay, well, first, I guess they didn't know that Fredo would be the driver, but that worked out in his favor. But they also were like, okay, well, we couldn't take out Vito, let's go after his kids.
Well, they went after Sonny because Sonny was now the acting Don.
Okay.
And I think part of that was Carlo wanting revenge for that beating he took in the street.
Yeah, well.
But I don't think
didn't get enough hits, honestly.
That's true. I don't think Vito's love for his family was any kind of weakness on his part because he was too level-headed. Mm. He was far too level-headed. Now, would he have acted against someone in that case? Yes. But the fact that he lost one son and he wanted to make sure his other son was still alive, he would let that one son's death go to keep his other son alive.
Do you think he would have done the same thing if Fredo had been the one to die?
No.
No?
Maybe it was Michael and Vito's relationship with each other that really caused. Maybe that was it. Maybe that was like the kind of the thing, the really strong thing that caused both of them to. Because you know how Vito was just like, all right, I can let it go that Sonny died. Mm-hmm. But if Michael dies, because Michael was that one pure thing in his life. Mm-hmm. Until, Michael decided, all right, I got to shoot these people because they tried to kill.
Yeah.
Well, at that time, yeah, he was like, I got to kill these people for what they did. Mm-hmm. So he was trying to, I feel like Vito was trying to preserve that one he was really very good aspect of his family.
Yeah, because you could tell, like, he was so sad and heartbroken when he found out Michael was the one that did the killing.
Yeah, he was not pleased about that at all. He did not want Michael to be in that life.
Yeah. And his father loved him so much that when his father got hurt, he decided, you know what, I'm going to dye myself in their colors to take that revenge. Mm-hmm. Even though he didn't want that. But he wasn't able to tell him, no, don't do. But if he could tell him, don't do that, he definitely would have stopped him.
Yeah, I think if Vito could have kept Michael out of his life, he would have.
Mm-hmm. And then, to top it off, not only did they shoot his father, they kidnapped his brother.
That's right.
They could have easily killed Tom.
Yeah.
Which I think is another reason. I think that's kind of another reason why he fired Tom as the consigliere. I kind of think he didn't want anyone to try that again.
Well, he also told him he's not a wartime.
He's not. I think that's what he told him, but I think just a little bit of it played into, I don't want anyone touching my brother again.
I feel that. Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, because he immediately when he came into power, he was like, all right, I'm sending one brother out into Nevada. No one's going to touch him there. I'm taking the other one, or one's dead, so, there's that. My sister, we're keeping her husband close so he can't really get to her.
And she's not part of this life because women aren't part of the mob.
And he's like, I'm taking my adopted brother out of power to keep him safe too. Yeah, okay, I can see that.
Yeah, that's how I interpreted it.
All right.
Just a little bit. Like, I think he was being honest with Tom when he's like, you're not a wartime consigliere. I think he was being honest, but I just think a little bit.
Because you can see it.
Yeah. Tom is too level-headed like Don Vito. Don't act with emotions. But I just think a little bit of it is he wants to keep Tom safe. Mm-hmm. And again, that plays into a little bit more of there's a scene between he and Michael in part 2.
Because I think Tom's been his brother longer than he's not been his brother. Tom's been there since he was like almost a
12.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom's been part of the family most of his life at this point.
Yeah, because there's a huge age gap between Tom and Sonny and Michael, right? Because there's 6 years between Fredo and Michael.
Yeah, so there'd be even more between. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's his brother.
Yeah, Tom might have been there longer than Michael's been there.
I don't know. Tom might be there longer than Connie.
Well, yeah, Connie's the youngest.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You guys got any final thoughts? Did you like it?
I liked it more than the other 2 movies we saw.
So this is your favorite film we've done so far?
So far.
Have all these movies been new to you yet so far?
All of them.
Okay.
All 3, yeah.
Jeremy?
I'd say I like the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. I very much enjoyed this movie. I like it a lot. I think I own all 3 on DVD somewhere. Haven't watched the other 2 in a very long time.
I don't think it deserves the hype that it's gotten. People are like, this is the #1 movie of all time. I have definitely seen better movies.
I guess it just depends on what you like.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this movie's great. It's a quick 3 hours for me. It definitely didn't drag.
That's true.
There isn't a lot of action in this movie, but there's a lot of tense moments. There's a lot of compelling conversations that are had. But I really enjoyed this film.
I will say it's a good character study. Like, it's a good movie about a character. I do love a good character-driven book, and I think this is something like that.
My first thing rewatching it was comparing it to Breaking Bad.
Yes.
Where
it's very similar in the downfall
of Walter White. Walter
Yeah.
White starts off as a good man, and by the end of the show, he's a cold-blooded killer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's another man who fell because of the love of family.
Yeah, he initially was trying to make sure his family was safe before he died of cancer, but then at the end of the series, he tells his wife, he's like, I did this because I liked it. I was good at it. And that's Michael Corleone. He's gets involved for the love of his family, but at the end of it, he's found what he's good at.
It's the love of the game.
A game he wanted nothing to do with.
Also, family is one of those big themes that goes into just a lot of movies and media in general, where it's just like we need something that is really going to drive this plot.
Mm-hmm.
And usually for a character, you have to choose, all right, is it going to be the love of their family? Is it going to be like their significant other? Or is it going to be a friend?
Mm-hmm.
It's usually one of those things that is a big driving force for what that character does.
What sets off the character's journey kind of thing, right?
Yeah. And just like a driving force. It's just it's normally something like that is the root of the conflict for like a character.
Yeah.
And I that's probably like kind of just true to life in general.
Yeah.
There usually is something like that kind of tips a person's actions.
So this movie came out in 1972. Do you guys want to guess how much a ticket would have cost to see this movie in 1972?
How much was a ticket? You know what? That'd be cheating.
That'd be cheating.
Okay. I'm going to say $1.25.
1972. Well, seeing as how I can't even remember the last 2.
Right?
That's what I want. I don't want you to remember.
I feel like I should start writing it down.
No, don't do that.
I'm gonna try not to forget next time. Let's just go with 50 cents.
Okay. It was $1.73.
I'm not too far off.
You're less than 50 cents off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you were closest last week, too.
I think so, yeah.
You get a gold star.
Nice.
I was hoping with all the getting shot that 50 cent will help me out.
So that has been our conversation on Francis Ford Coppola's Mario Puzo's The Godfather. He was the author of the book. We never mentioned that until right now. Mario Puzo.
I forgot this was a book.
I didn't know until fairly recently, actually.
So many films were originally a book, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I might read it.
Trying to think how to end it now.
Oh. You want to say what next week's movie is?
Oh,
or next time movie?
Yes.
Since it is mine.
That'd be a good fucking idea.
Yeah.
So next week, Erica has picked our movie, and do you want to tell us what we're going to be watching?
Drew Barrymore has Never Been Kissed.
From 1999. I haven't seen this movie in a very long time.
Never seen it. I've seen it spoofed on Not Another Teen Movie.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's a goofy-ass movie. So join us next week where we talk about Never Been Kissed, and hopefully we say the word family a lot less because we're starting to sound like a Fast and Furious film.
Well,
So I've been Adam.
America.
I'm Jeremy.
We've been Getting to the Theater. Thank you for listening. And family,